Alright, with all that there, let's get started. I should move this over here. Hello, 'tis I, Shino the Penguin. Welcome to another truck, well, welcome to long time. When was the last time I did a truck vid? I don't know, it's been a while. It's been so long that I forgot that I have to, play my tunes instead of the usual, like, do 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 do. So, that's why I had to switch mid whatever, but we're here now, so. And I forgot that this playlist has a few songs I actually do like, such as that one that we just played. That's been one I've been repeating for the last few days because it's been something that's kind of not earworm. I don't know, I'm tired. That's my excuse. If you didn't see the tweet, I just got back from an adventure of epic proportions, and by that I mean I went outside. And I went outside for quite a bit, so I'm tired between doing a... What is this song? This is not a good song. We're just gonna play this song again. Just do that again. Yeah, between... I did, like... I'll talk about it, because, we're playing American Truck Simulator, aka my yapping game, so we're gonna just be talking a lot. But yeah, I did a whole bunch of stuff, so let's just put it that way. So with that being said, let's just kick things off. Let's get started. Why does this happen every time where I can't... Wait, if I want to... Hello? Firefox? Why are you not an option to be one? I don't understand why this happens every time. Okay, anyway. PC game. Okay, everything's good there. The spoofy's working. The game audio is maybe working? I guess we'll find out. Anyway, I was in the middle of a job, sorry, because I played this game a lot off stream. So we'll just be in the middle of this, hauling oh, that car's... yeah, let me just slowly accelerate in the middle of the highway here. Is it working? Yeah, it's working. Okay, great. Game audio is working. Okay, it might be a little loud actually, now that I'm looking... Yeah, hold on, pause. I forgot, I think I adjusted that from previous streams, so let me, where are you, game audio? Set you to -15. Alright, let's enter. Okay, see if that's any better, because that was pretty loud. Yeah, that should be good. Okay. That's quiet. If it's too loud, let me know, but I think that should be good. Okay. But, hold on, a little bit slanty. That should be good. Is that good? That's good. Okay, great. Yeah, so, long time no chat. I mean, heck, I just got back from stream, 2 weeks ago, so yeah, no, it's been... And I think I did Fall Guys, I think the first stream back I remember, so that was a little bit of me kind of catching up on stuff, but it's been a long time since I've done one of these where it's just kind of straight up talking and doing random stuff, so we will be talking, or at least I'll be talking, I don't know, that's usually how these go, but yeah, today was quite a day. I did a whole bunch of stuff, so I guess my mindset, now that I live here, undisclosed location, I'll just say the general area of Southern California. What are we doing? Hello? Yeah, the general location of Southern California, or Los Angeles, let's just say. So now that I'm living here, it's like, well, shoot, I have all these things around me. And so I should be spending the weekends doing stuff. So that's what I've been doing. Just doing stuff. Now granted, if you don't know, I am one of those people that, well, one, I'm an introvert, so it's just like, really what it ends up being is like I just spend one day doing stuff, and then I spend the other day of the weekend just kind of recovering from that. Usually that ends up being like a Saturday, it's just like, oh, let's do stuff on Saturday, and then like Sunday is just like, you know, the day to like stay indoors, or stay in my house, relax, get ready for the upcoming work week, especially since... For my job specifically, I have to be in the office Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which is a little bit annoying because that means, you know, heading straight into the work week, I have to be in the office rather than having kind of that transitional period of, you know, working from home on Monday and then starting to get into office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Having said that, I do kind of like the little divide of, you know, when Wednesday, after Wednesday hits, it's like, okay, great, now Thursday, Friday, I can work from home, have a little bit more flexibility, and if I have to be 100% honest, not be as, you know, work heavy, because I said this before, right, where it's just like, where I feel like I do better work in the office because I feel, like, I understand, like, most people are busy with their own work, so they don't really care about like whether I'm doing work or not, or whether it looks like I'm busy, but in my mind I'm just like, you know, I don't want to slack off too much, otherwise they'll be like, oh, you're not doing your work. And I know that's kind of stupid, because at the end of the day, I've been blessed with good teams that understand that as long as you get your work done, doesn't really matter how long you work, when you get into work, that kind of thing, so generally they've been kind of nice with that. Unfortunately, my team, and it feels like the whole office in general, like that because my company is a big I'm not gonna say which company it is, but it's a big company, thousands if not tens of thousands of employees with offices all around the world. The office that I go to in particular has, well, one, a lot of people, but two, it seems like a lot of them get to work in the office like super early. Like I know somebody in, not my team, but like my kind of close teams who, that was 100% my fault, who gets to work at like 6 a.m., which is like, that's insane to me. Like, I cannot imagine having to wake up, because it's not even like waking up at 6, you have to wake up earlier than that to get to work. I mean, I guess if you live close to the office, then you can kind of get away with getting there a bit early, but even for me, who, I live 25-30 minute drive from the office, 25 if there's no traffic, 30 if there's like some traffic, and generally I'm blessed with the fact that I drive against traffic, so I don't get caught in all of the horrible notorious LA traffic. So generally my commute's pretty chill for the most part. Because every time it's funny because like I drive down the highway and it's just like I see, you know, the other side is just like packed. It's like, and I see like, you know, how long does it take if I, you know, go the reverse direction? It'd be like instead of the 25-30 minutes, it would end up being an hour, and I'm just like, thank freaking God I don't have to do that every day, because if I had to do something like that, I would have definitely moved a bit closer to where I work. Because admittedly, I don't really live too close to where I work, but that was a conscious decision because I wanted to be a bit closer to kind of more centralized in a way. Because where I work isn't really central, it's not really too close to like the downtown-y areas, so what are we doing? What are we doing here? What are we doing? God, this reminds me of... Here's the other thing too, is like now that I have a car, now that I live in a city that's so car-centric, I am definitely a lot more comfortable driving down highways, because I think before I was just, you know, I've driven down highways, right? It's just like that's a thing that I've had experience with. But it always felt like every time I did go down a highway, it was always just like, oh, like I'd like be gripping the wheel really, really tightly. Like my hands would cramp after a while because I gripped the wheel so tight out of like nervousness. I feel like my hands would get sweaty and stuff. But now I'm just like, you know, it's whatever. You know, it's just like it's only been like a month since I started. It's gonna be a month, I think, next week. And yeah, I'm already pretty comfortable with just driving down highways because that's pretty much our life here. So that's what it's the fun little thing there. It's kind of funny too because I thought, you know, like I really got into this game at a time when I didn't really have a car, so it was just like this kind of felt like, you know, like the little kind of escape way to like, oh, I don't have a car, let me pretend that I can drive down these, you know, fictional highways and like pretend that I'm having a car. But even now that I still have a car, it's just like, well, and I would have thought that, you know, maybe now that I have a car and I drive down the highway to go to work and, you know, I have to do my commute and stuff, maybe I'll get tired of playing something like this where I have to, you know, like kind of do the same thing. But honestly, it's a little bit different, right? Because it's like, I don't know, it's TLDR, that's just like, I'm still enjoying playing this game. Like, I don't play this game every day like I used to, obviously, because, you know, I'm busy with other things after getting back from work, but I still play this game on occasion. You know, I play it a lot off stream, playing it right now, heck, so, like, you know, that counts for something. But yeah, it's just like, turns out, still totally fine driving in fictional highways, even though I drive down real highways. So that's a little bit of what and I guess that's a kind of a good segue as to what I did today, because heck, if you want to go anywhere, you pretty much want to go, you have to go down highways. I mean, if you go to areas that are close to where you live, I mean, obviously that's not a thing, or obviously that wouldn't be a thing, but generally I've been trying to, you know, explore the area a little bit. I've been trying to, I've come up with a list of things, or not things, well, things, but also like places that I wanted to visit. There are places around where I live that I don't necessarily have to drive. I can either like take the train, or I can just, you know, walk over. So that's definitely an option. And I think I'm saving those for when the weather gets cooler. Which thankfully, weather update by the way, weather update new edition, it has been a bit hot. I mean, I think I mentioned before that this is usually like this month, August and September are like the hottest months of the year for like this region, but thankfully it's not too hot. Even if it's like, you know, hot, it's like it's not too humid. So like even if it's like mid-high 90s, it's still like doable for the most part, right? Like it's still like, you know, it's not terrible as long as you're not in the direct sun sort of thing. So that's not too bad. But nah, it's cooled down a little bit. I think the high was like 80 degrees Fahrenheit today. It was also cloudy, which is really nice. I really enjoyed that. I know that this area, it almost never rains really, unless it's like, I guess like winterish is like kind of around the time it rains. But generally it doesn't rain around this time of year, although apparently it did rain last night. Although unfortunately I didn't see that. But I've seen forecasts of rain over the past few days before, but that didn't really happen. Like it was just cloudy, but it didn't actually rain, which was like, whatever. I would love to see it rain one day, but I'm not getting my hopes up for that. But it was cloudy, so that was nice. Which was really good because that means that I could hike. So what I ended up doing, well, the first thing I did was I had an order from IKEA that I had to pick up. God, it's been a whole saga of getting stuff, the thing I needed to get from IKEA. So I guess to start the story, this was, I think, like a few days after I moved into my apartment, where I was just like, I think this was the weekend before I started my first day at work. Because I told a little bit of the story, right? My first stream back, where I moved into my apartment, but the first thing I did when I landed here was I bought my car, so I actually didn't get my keys from the apartment manager. I had to get them from the freaking maintenance guy who was there, and if he wasn't there, I don't know what I would have done. So that was a stroke of luck on my part. But I got my keys, and then I didn't get my furniture until I think the day after, because I got all my stuff from the shipping queue, blah blah blah. So okay, yeah, that was like the Tuesday. So my mom came over the weekend. This was like a few days after I got all my stuff, like boxes, moved into my apartment. So I was doing the unpacking stuff, but I was also trying to, because obviously, I needed furniture because I sold a lot of the stuff that I had, so I didn't have to transport it over, long distance move, all that stuff. So I had furniture that I still need to buy. I need to buy like a table, like a display cabinet for my figures, that kind of thing, and other various random stuff. So we went to IKEA for that, because why not? So yeah, did the whole fun shopping trip at IKEA. Unfortunately, they didn't have all the items I needed, so okay, let's just order it and then have it shipped over here. Unfortunately, I had to wait like a week after like I ordered it because I don't know why, it just wasn't available until then. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just wait it out. A week passes, and then it's like, okay, so apparently IKEA uses like this like kind of third-party service. It's like a last mile sort of thing, where it's like they have them stored in the third party sort of, I guess, facility or warehouse, and then they ship it over to your apartment or your place or whatever. Unfortunately, they are a terrible, terrible company apparently, and they don't deliver it to you, so it's just like, gotcha. It's just like they just don't, it's like, yeah, they just tried to deliver it once and then they just kind of hold it hostage. So that's what happened. So I was just like, so funny enough, I was at home, right? So I was like, okay, well, I'm waiting for my delivery. They said that, oh, it's going to be coming today. And it's like, okay, great. Luckily, I'm home. I'm working from home today, so let me just wait. I get a call from a random number, which in hindsight, I probably should have answered. It was very much likely the delivery people, but I don't usually answer phone calls from random numbers, just because usually 90% of the time it's like spam stuff, and like if you answer them, then it's like, oh, then it shows that you're an active number, and then you get even more calls and stuff like that. So that's why I don't answer random numbers. And if it is important, I'm under the philosophy that if it is an important call, they'll like leave a message or something, right? No message, so I'm like, okay, it's probably just a random call. And then I find out, and then I wait, I keep waiting, and it's like, okay, well, they didn't deliver today. And I'm like, well, shoot, maybe those were the delivery people. So I'm like, okay, they'll probably re-deliver tomorrow, right? This was like a Thursday, so I was like, okay, they'll probably re-deliver tomorrow. Nah, they don't do that. So I wait a few more days because I'm like, okay, well, okay, maybe they might re-deliver it in a few days. And then it's just like every day, like I just check on my phone, like the status of the delivery, and they're like, every time I check, it's like, oh, it's out for delivery, expect it today. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know if it's out for delivery. It's just like, and then it gets to the point where I think like this is like 4 days after the attempted delivery, what was supposed to be the attempted delivery. It just, apparently like the out for delivery status just gets deleted from the page, so now it's just like in a weird like limbo of like progress where it's like, well, it's just trapped. I guess they're holding my stuff hostage. So I'm like, well, fuck me. So I contact the customer delivery or the customer service, and they're like, oh, and I love when it's always, it's like obviously Indian name being like, oh, I'm so sorry about this. How can I? And it's just like I try to back and forth with them, and they're like, oh, we'll redeliver. Well, I'll set it to be for them to redeliver it on Friday. This is, I think, like 2 or 3 weeks after I placed this order, and I'm like, okay, I'll wait for it on Friday. And I am like, that's fine because I'll be at home working, and so I'll expect it to be delivered. Friday comes, no delivery. So at this point I'm just like, well, this is freaking annoying. I'm just gonna get this order canceled, and then I'll just reorder it, and then I'll just have it so I pick it up from the store rather than having them deliver it, so I don't have to deal with all this BS. So that's what I did. I canceled the order. I had to contact their customer service, be like, or IKEA's customer service, be like, hey, this order has been out for delivery for like 2 weeks now. I still haven't gotten it. What's the big deal? Can I just cancel it and get a refund? They're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Luckily, that was relatively pain-free, so I was able to get that order canceled. And then, I just reordered everything in that way. So, okay, great, then I can, pick up my stuff. I think I ended up setting it for what would have been today. So, like, like a Saturday, because I have to work from home and I have to go be in the office. So Saturday, I'll do that and then give that as an excuse to, go out, do stuff around that area, and then also, just like make something out of my day for a weekend sort of thing. So that was the thing. And I was like, okay, that's probably the final step. Okay, great. A few days later, so I think that this happened last week. This was literally last Friday, I think. So I did all this last Friday. A few days later, this was a few days ago, Tuesday. Tuesday comes. I'm in the office. I'm working. Blah blah blah. I get a text message. Your order is on its way for delivery. Huh? It's like, excuse me? It's like, I canceled my order. It's like, why is it? I mean, okay, so to be fair, this is the third party, right? So the third party probably was like, oh, like they didn't get the notification that I canceled my order, so they still thought that, I was expecting it. But I was expecting my order on the Friday, and they end up delivering it, what, Tuesday? Which would have been like a few days after that. So they're like, okay, it's just, I'm like, okay, I guess you can, try redelivering it again. They're probably going to go through the same BS of like, oh, sorry, we can get hold of you, we can deliver to your location, blah, blah, blah. And I'm busy with work and that kind of thing, so I get a call. Apparently I got a call again. I couldn't answer it because I was busy with work, so, whatever. I get a message, thank you, your order's been delivered. Huh? Okay. Cool. Apparently they were able to get into my apartment complex. That's cool, I guess. So what ends up happening is then, okay, so then it's just like my order gets delivered, which is great and all, but I already got a refund for my order. So it's just like, I guess in a way I was able to get that stuff for free, which was pretty cool. The only problem is that that order was everything that I needed except for the display cabinet that I was trying to order for my figure collection, because they didn't have that available for delivery. So here I am just like, okay, great, all the stuff that I originally ordered is now there except for the display cabinet. So what I ended up having to do was I ended up having to cancel the order that I placed on last Friday, so I had to get a refund for that. And then I reordered the display cabinet, just the display cabinet, to be picked up Saturday. So, that's great and all. I mean, honestly, I guess at the end of the day, it did kind of work out because, again, I was able to get, I think this was like $80 worth of stuff for free. So, that's pretty cool. that kind of worked out. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the display cabinet, which ended up being like the most expensive thing, for free. But, you can't always get everything for free, so it's whatever. So that whole ordeal leads us to today, Saturday, which was the day that I had to pick up my stuff from IKEA because I didn't want to, deal with the whole BS of having to get that delivered and them not delivering it and blah, 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 and waiting for them to come, only for them to never show up or something. So I drive over to IKEA. Actually, before I do that, So since I already planned out that I was going to IKEA, I planned out a whole bunch of other stuff. I planned out a cookie. So I ordered like this 12-pack of cookies from this person who had like a delivery, not delivery, like it was like a drop. I don't know what the best way of putting it is, but basically it's like, if you know, it's like you can order it online from a website, like a pre-order sort of thing. You pick it up on a certain day, and then you get your food. So it's like a small business sort of thing, without the whole brick and mortar shop. But it was posted on, I think, like the Los Angeles food subreddit, because some people do that where they post about, oh, like, hey, I'm like selling cookies, come pre-order your stuff now. And I'm like, well, shoot, you know what? It's in Burbank, which is pretty close to the IKEA that I'm going to. Why not? So I decided to do that, order the cookies. I lined it up so that I can get it before I head over to the IKEA, so I lined it all up. So I went over to that area to get the cookies first, got that was all smooth. Went over to the IKEA, they had their little, like curbside pickup thing where you can drive up to the parking lot, they load your your things, and you're good to go. So I get to the IKEA. I think my pickup window was like, 12 to 1 p.m. So I'm like, okay, that works because my cookie pickup was 11:45. I was a little bit late, but that's fine. I was able to get to IKEA, I think, like 12:10ish. So I was there, parked, waited for everything. There were like 4 people ahead of me in line. That's fine. I can just, like stay in my car for a little bit. A few minutes pass, or like, I think it was like 10, 15 minutes pass. They're like, okay, you're up next. Wait for the person to come and get your stuff, or like they will be out momentarily. 5 minutes pass, nothing happens. 10 minutes pass, nothing happens. It is now 12:30 at this point. I am like, okay, they said they'll be right out. It can't take that long. So I go up to the store. To try and ask them. It's like, okay, well, like, where's my stuff? Can I get my stuff? Unfortunately, there's nobody there, so I just I'm just waiting over there. I get a text message. We couldn't deliver your stuff. Please go up to or like, please. I don't know what the exact message was, but basically it's like, we can't deliver your stuff. Sorry. And I'm just like, oh, are you freaking kidding me? So I run down over to the to my car, and on the way I run into a guy who it looks like, because I recognize that guy because the guy was like, he was the guy who was giving everybody else, I guess, people ahead of me, their stuff. And I'm like, oh, is this for the Volvo V6 or like the car? And then he's like, oh yeah, it's like, so I somehow was able to run into the guy who was delivering my stuff, and then that happened. So another stroke of luck, I guess, but man, it was so freaking slow. So I was just, I think I left that IKEA, it ended up being like 12:45, so I was there for like 35-40 minutes, and I'm just like, man, I really should have just, in hindsight, and I think this is, lesson for the future, I really should have just gone up there and, just picked up the stuff myself rather than waited for somebody to go down there, because that would have saved me so much time rather than just like sitting there waiting only for me to just be there for my life, basically. So that was, what is going on here? That was that shenanigans. So I got my cookies, I got my furniture, but that was not even the half of the stuff that I did, because I was pretty close to Griffith Park. And let me take a drink of water because I've been just non-stop talking for the last like 30 minutes. Ugh. If you don't know, Griffith Park and Griffith Observatory, it's like this big area, this big open area that's kind of close to downtown LA. It's like a little bit north, but it's a very high peak. So Griffith Park, Griffith Observatory is like kind of pretty well known, kind of landmark in LA. Very nice views of the city, that kind of thing. So I'm like, that might be pretty nice, get a hike going. There are options to park pretty close to the observatory, which would mean that you wouldn't have to walk all the way up to get over there. But the trade-off is that the parking is hella expensive. It's like $10 an hour, and I'm like, hell no, brother. I'm not paying that much for parking. So I did the other alternative, which was I parked kind of a little bit further away, free parking, but it meant that I would have to take a hike, which is fine because, you know, like, I'm relatively active. I like nature. I like doing hikes. So I'm like, yeah, sure, that's fine. I'll hike it. And I looked to, you know, did a little bit of research, because if you were in my stream yesterday, you know that I am a planner, which means that I have to plan out my entire trips before doing the trips. I am that type of person. So I planned out, you know, like, okay, like, I'm going to park over here in this parking lot. I'm going to take this route. This seems like it's relatively easy. People say it's, like, not too bad. So I'm like, great, that sounds good. It's going to be a nice little hike. Little did I know that this hike would be... It's not... Okay, I might be exaggerating. Well, no, it was not easy. Let me just say that. It was a steep hike. It was a very steep hike. I know I'm tired. I'm tired in this game. I'm tired in real life. It was a steep. Do not. Wait. That is 100% your fault. It was a steep hike. Because I had to park kind of a little bit, I guess, further down. Because the observatory and, like, kind of the... Obviously, it's kind of high up on a hill. So I had to climb up. It wasn't even that long of a hike. It was only, like, 15-20 minutes. But it was some steep hills. And my god... Let me tell you, by the end of it, I was a little bit out of breath, and I was like, man, I was thinking to myself, man, I need to get exercise. Well, I mean, I do need to get exercise, that is actually true, but, like, man, I'm weak, I need to get cardio, only for me to, you know, like, look at how far I traveled. I wish I'd taken a picture of it, but, like, yeah, it's just like, I looked down and I'm like, wow, yeah, no, that's a lot of elevation that I just went up. So, like, I'm actually just not a pussy. It turns out, yeah, that was actually just a really hard hike, which people, I don't know who the hell thought that. People were like, oh, it's an easy hike, it's fine, it's like, oh, it's not that bad. Bullshit. It was such a... Okay, I wouldn't say it was such a hard hike, but, like, coming from someone who's relatively active, like, it was not easy. So I feel bad for, like, 'cause on my way up to the hike, like, I passed by people, like, there was like this kid who was like, oh my god, I'm dying, like, and his family was there or whatever, so it's like his dad and, like, I guess like his sisters or, like, his like, you know, siblings and stuff, and they were fine for the most part, but this kid was, like, relatively, I would say, he didn't look very athletic, so he was not having a fun time. And I passed by a few of those people where it's just like they were not having a fun time. And it's just like, I feel bad because it's like, they did not know what they were in for. And when I was walking back down after, you know, reaching the observatory, getting back to my car, I was passing by a whole bunch of people and, like, kids, and they were already tired, and I was just, like, thinking to myself, oh boy, y'all are not gonna be ready for what's up ahead, because they were like, oh, we're almost there, or, like, the parents were telling their kids, oh, don't worry, we're almost there, and I'm like, brother, you are not even halfway, and you have not even reached the highest slopes. Oof. So that was big oof for them. I felt bad for the kids there. But no, it was fun. It was nice exercise, and yeah, I was able to get some nice pictures, nice views of the LA area, downtown. Got to see some nice the skyscrapers around that area. It was nice. It's very nice. You know, nice grass touching experience. So I was able to go to the observatory, which actually has a whole bunch of, like, exhibits on, like, space and stuff, which was really kind of interesting. So I didn't expect that. You know, it was pretty museum-like in a sense, honestly. Like, they got some nice little exhibits on, you know, space, stars, the planets, a whole bunch of things. So it was very nice, very educational. Was not really expecting it, but, you know, I enjoyed it for the most part. But yeah, that was so normally I'd be like, okay, that's good, let's go home, that's fine. The crazy person that I am, I was like, well, that's good job everybody, let's move on to our next destination, which since I was close to it, I don't know why. I do enjoy going to malls for some reason. I don't know if y'all know that about me. I don't think this is something I've really mentioned in the past, but like I do enjoy a good mall. So I was pretty close to what was I think it's like the Glendale Galleria, which if you don't know is like a relatively large mall. There are a lot of like pretty big malls around this area. But that is definitely one of them, and I was pretty close to that area anyway, so I was like, well, okay, after... And I was gonna play it by ear, right? I was gonna be like, well, if I'm still tired, or if I am tired from the adventure that is the Griffith Park hike, then I might just go home. But if I'm still feeling saucy, then yeah, let's go to the mall. And I was still feeling saucy, so I was just like, you know what, let's do it. Let's go to this mall, and see what it's all about, see what kind of fun stores they have. And so I did that. After being all sweaty and doing the hike, I was like, let's go to the mall. So I drove over to the mall and did some window shopping and some actual shopping. I actually eventually did do some shopping. Out of all the malls that I've been to around this area, which I will say I haven't been to that many malls, but I have been to quite maybe a good number isn't the best way of saying it, but like I've been to some malls, right? So it's like, yeah, I can say that this one isn't the best mall I've been to in this area. I think the best mall I've been to is definitely, there's one, it's called Fashion Square at it's like Del Amo Fashion Square or whatever. It's all the way over in Torrance, which is kind of a little bit more the area that they call South Bay, which is a bit more south-ish. Not as south as like Orange County or anything, but it's still like relatively south. And the reason why I went there in the first place was because they had an Animate store, which, if you don't know, Animate sells, well, I think you're probably pretty obvious, but they sell anime goods. But they don't have very many. In fact, I think it's the only location here in the US that they have. They have a lot of locations in Japan. They have like one in Korea that I've been to in the past. But Animate is really awesome because they have a lot of anime goods. And like if you go to like a standard anime like goods store, generally they don't have very many things that aren't like a shonen or like popular series like a Demon Slayer or Naruto, that kind of thing. Like that's usually their kind of, I guess demographic isn't the right word, but like their go-to sort of thing. And it makes sense because like they wouldn't sell like a lot of the niche things, or like they wouldn't really have a good reason to sell a lot of the niche things. But it sucks for somebody like me who doesn't really watch a lot of the shonen stuff. But so that's why anime is nice, because it has a lot of anime goods, like a lot of anime goods. So it's for somebody like me, it's like heaven on earth. So I'm like, hell yeah, let's go to it. So I think I told this story in a past stream where this was literally the first weekend I was living here. That's not correct, but I guess I'll take that. This was literally the first weekend I was here. Like I was still moving, I was still unpacking all that stuff, and I was like the weekend, I was like, oh, let's go over there. It was a 40-minute drive from where I lived. Like relatively 40. The fuck is this song? Nope. Whoops, I accidentally skipped 2 songs. Whatever. Yeah, that was so that was like the first weekend I headed over there. I went to the Animate. They also had the Kinokuniya, which if you don't know is like a Japanese bookstore. Not a good Kinokuniya. Honestly, the worst Kinokuniya I've been to, low key. It's so small, it's so cramped. It was just like, I don't like it. To be fair, I haven't been to many Kinokuniyas, but I have been to quite a few. I went to the one in Japantown, in San Francisco. I went to the one in Arlington Heights, Chicago area. I've been to, and then now I've been to the one in the mall over there in Torrance. I unfortunately was not able to get to the one in the Little Tokyo because apparently they were moving, and I think I went there a few days after they did all the or like they were renovating. So unfortunately, I just missed when they closed before they closed, but I was not able to go to that one. But we'll see whenever they reopen with their new location or whatever. Let me here. Or let me give my voice a little bit of a break. Honestly, I don't know why I decided to do a talkie stream. My throat isn't actually feeling great. This is another thing I was gonna eventually mention after talking about my day, but I actually might be getting sick. I'll talk about why. TLDR, that is my office. Everybody's just been getting sick at this point, and I'm pretty much come to the conclusion that I'm gonna get sick too at some point. Like, I'm gonna catch their sickness. And my throat's not feeling great, so like, honestly, like, I think, yeah, like, I've been feeling a little bit scratchy throat, so I don't really, in hindsight, a talkie stream was probably not the greatest idea, but I really did want to play Truck Sim, just because I really wanted to chat with, just, you know, blabber and yap about random stuff. Like, it feels like I haven't done this type of stream ever since I come back, and it's been so long since I did this that I have a lot of shit to talk about. So, in fact, I still haven't even finished talking about my day. I'm still talking about, you know, the malls and stuff. Yeah, getting back to that topic. Yeah, so yeah, Fashion Square Del Amo, I think that's the best mall I've been to. In fact, it's so big, it's so huge. I still haven't didn't explore all of it. So I'd love to go back there one day, especially go back to the Animate and do some more shopping. But I can't spend all my money, and this is another topic that I eventually would like to talk about, because I did calculate my finances, and hoo boy, do I not have very much money to be able to kind of spend on entertainment stuff and like miscellaneous things. So I gotta be careful about my money for the next few months, just because I spent so much between moving and all the other stuff there. So yeah, that's a thing. But luckily I make a decent amount of money. Okay, what will you? So actually that was my fault. Yeah, like I said, I drive like a lunatic in this game. Not in real life, thankfully. But I have definitely encountered a good number of people that, my god, are crazy as fuck drivers. I think I've definitely used my horn. I can definitely confirm that my horn works. It works pretty well. So that's definitely something I can confirm with my car. Anyway, mall discussion aside, yeah, I've been to yeah, I've been to that one. I went to, there was a mall in Burbank that I went to, a round one there. There was another round one I went to with the mall there. And then the Galleria. Galleria was alright. I don't know if I'd go back again, to be honest. They have a few interesting stores. They had a Lego store, which is always fun to kind of look around to. They had a, what else was there? I mean, out of all the notable stores, aka ones that, you know, interest me, they did have, I think, Tokyo Lifestyle or whatever. It's like a chain that has like anime related goods, but it was such a small location, and like they barely had anything. In fact, funny enough, they, as like most kind of general anime goods stores, they only really had like shonen stuff. So it really didn't interest me too much. But what I found funny was I think they had the mall, oh, where am I going? I couldn't tell because the freaking map was gone. They had a Miniso. If you don't know Miniso, I don't think it's related to Daiso. Daiso is like a company that, or like a store that sells like a lot of kind of like household goods. There's like, it's kind of like the dollar store equivalent of Japan, like Japanese dollar store equivalent, except not really, because they have like kind of decently good goods, but like generally it's like a lot of kind of cheaper goods, but that doesn't mean bad quality. It's just like, it's just cheap, so, you know, take that for what you will. But generally I don't think that it is related. But yeah, Miniso, they have like a lot of random stuff, but the Miniso in that mall had, what is happening? Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. They had figures, or, you know, they had obvious figures from like shonen stuff, but they had Uma Musume figures, and I was, or like, okay, That's misleading. They had Uma Musume figures on display, but they weren't selling them. And I was just like, I saw, because I was looking at the figures, I was like, is that an Uma Musume? Is that Oguri? That's Oguri Cap and Tamamo Cross. And I'm like, holy shit, do they have Uma Musume figures? And so I like looked around their like the stock, and I was debated because they didn't have any. And I was just like, wow, that is really unfortunate. Shaking my head. Shaking my head indeed. So yeah, that was a little bit of a bummer, but that was an interesting thing, because it was like, man, for a second it's just like that store, which isn't necessarily an anime goods store, has a better, I guess, diversity, is that the right word? That's probably not the right word, but I'm going the wrong way. What am I doing? They have a better selection of anime figures than the freaking anime goods store, which I thought was freaking hilarious. And the only reason why I stopped talking a little bit there was I thought that this was a song that I recognized, but this isn't. I don't know. There are quite a few songs in this playlist that I do have on my daily playlist that I have on repeat, just because this is from like what, NCS, which I do occasionally try and keep up with, you know, new releases just to see if there's any fun new bops, which there have been. There have been a good new bops. I think the first song I played before I started stream, kind of in the starting soon screen, was one I've had on my been listening to on repeat for the past few days, called Funeral by Justin O. Good old Justin O. He's got some bangers for sure. But nah, Funeral, it's oof, chef's kiss. Beautiful, love it. I've been listening to that on repeat. But this is pretty good. Yeah, that's nice. Anyway, Glendale Galleria, right? So yeah, they had I think they had that. They had a Pop Mart store, which if you don't know Pop Mart, I guess they're well known for their Labubus. If you don't know the Labubus, is that right? The Labubus? I don't. At this point, I've heard I've been hearing like the meme names more than the actual names more than anything, so it's just like so I don't, it's Labubu, right? That's the thing. So yeah, I was like, okay, that's interesting, you know, because I heard of Pop Mart, I know of those things, and I was like, well, shoot, let's do that, or let's go over to see what the big fuss is about. And they don't just sell those; they have like, I think Pop Mart just has like a lot of blind boxes in general. So okay, that's my fault. That's my fault. Fine, it's whatever. Hey, what's up, Dodge Toe? How you doing? Hey, how's your stream going? Here in Las Vegas, they have many anime stores. I'm sure they do. I'm sure they have a lot of them here in LA as well. I'm just like, I don't want to say gripe, but my thing with that is like a lot of them, and it makes sense because they have to cater to like general audiences, you know, what sells the most. So a lot of them just sell like the shonen stuff, just like popular shows, Demon Slayer, My Hero Aka, that kind of thing. It's just a lot of just those kinds of things. I guess I should ask, what do you clarify, or what do you classify as an anime store? Yeah, that's a good question. I'd say, for me, I think it's one that, like, generally, like, they advertise themselves as, like, oh, we sell anime goods. It's like they have anime in their name, or, like, they, like, sell, like, Japanese-style goods. So in that sense, yeah, I guess there's, like, a lot of those, but there are... I guess there's also the definition, right, of, like, kind of just, like an Animate, or, like, a Kinokuniya, which actually sells, like, a wide range of goods and stuff. Which that I think that's like a little bit more limited, because that is like very, very like kind of very, I guess, wide range of things. That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, I think that's what most people think of that when it's just like, yeah, wait, what am I doing? I didn't. Yeah, okay, time to go. And I'm like, wait a second, I didn't even pick up my goods. Whoopsies. Okay, I'm an idiot. Where's my goods? There's my goods. Yeah, so They didn't have that many stores in the mall that I was in, but yeah, the Tokyo Lifestyle or whatever was the only one that I went to, which again didn't really, just small location, didn't have that much stuff. But I wasn't really looking for any anime stores. I mean, I just went to that mall just to see what they had in general, just to kind of window shop and look around. But it was interesting, you know, Pop Mart, you know, there's like a lot of blind box stuff. It wasn't just the Labubus, they had like Disney stuff, they had anime stuff, and by anime I mean they had like Spy x Family, Demon Slayer, that kind of thing. Nothing that was really too interesting to me. I didn't really. I still do need to watch more anime in general. Is the thing. Like I just don't. Like I've been behind on stuff. Like I know this season's about to end pretty soon, and I have just not been watching stuff. Like I'm like halfway on City, and My Dress Up Darling, season 2, and I think I've watched like one episode of the new Don Da Don season 2, even though I think that also ended a few days ago. I saw that they had the announcement that season 3's in production, which makes sense, you know, no shit. But yeah, I need to catch up on stuff, and I just need to watch a lot of stuff in general. But now I have the excuse of, man, I have my job, I feel busy, but I don't know, it's just like a whole roadblock there. Anyway. Yeah, Labubu. What else? There was, I ended up buying, because I went to Uniqlo, because, you know, Uniqlo's nice. They have a whole bunch of stuff. I bought, I think it was like a Peanuts t-shirt, because I wouldn't say a big fan of Peanuts, but I do like Peanuts, so it's just like, yeah, you know, it's like they had some nice shirts, they had some nice shots. They had some nice shirts there. Please stop, please stop, please stop, please stop, please stop. Thank you. Okay. They had some nice shirts that I decided to buy, even though it's just in my mind, I'm just like, I already have way too many shirts. I really should stop buying shirts. I still bought it anyway. So I was just like, alright. So I did that. And that's fine. Most of the shirts I have anyway are like either old or like there's stuff that I really don't like anymore, like the design anymore, because it feels like those are shirts I bought from back in college when I wore a lot of like graphic tees and stuff, and I've kind of steered away from those kinds of things. So trying to be a bit more minimalist, I don't know if it's the right word, but like kind of just like more casual. That was a close call. Yeah, if you... I may have mentioned this before, but I do drive like an insane person in this game, which, disclaimer, by the way, I don't drive like this in real life. Even more of a disclaimer now that I actually have a car and I actually have to drive in real life. But yeah, I generally, you know, I turned off all my traffic violations in this game. As you noticed, I don't really give a crap about all this stuff because I just want to get to places as quick as possible. I know that's kind of... I know some people really hate when, you know, like, it's just like watching people be like, oh, what are you doing? You gotta drive like actually, like, actual speed limits, follow the traffic laws, that kind of thing. But I'm just like, it's a fictional game. You know, I'm just gonna drive however I want to drive. And I'm gonna drive like an insane person because if you look at my profile picture over here, I chose the one that looks like they drive like an insane person, and I think this fits the driving style pretty damn well. So that is me, in this game at least. That's what I do too, screw the law in this game. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, heck, you know, do what you want to do. It's play how you want to play, you know? It doesn't affect a lot. It doesn't affect people, so it's just like, you know, I'm gonna do it. Screw the rules, I have money. And I do have money. That's the thing, like, even if I do get into crashes, most of the money that I earn from doing jobs in this game ends up going into repairs and stuff from me crashing into things. So it all kind of evens out in a way. Because otherwise, what would I spend it on? I don't know, new trucks? Psh, nah. I'm good with this one. Right. How long have you been playing this game? That's a good question. I got into this game... It hasn't been that long. I know this game's been out for a decade plus at this point. But I didn't have my PC until earlier this year, like literally I think January of this year, which actually that would have been like, God, 9 months ago now that I'm thinking about it. But, so, I mean, I knew of this game's existence, and I was like, you know what, let's buy this game. I think it was on sale for like really cheap, $2.99, that kind of thing. So I was like, yeah, you know what, I'll buy it. And then I tried it out, instantly got hooked, ended up buying a wheel. So now I have like the wheel right now that I'm using, wheel and the pedals, and I've been enjoying it ever since. So I think it's been about 6 months at this point since that I've been playing this game. Until I got the custom paint job for the truck. Obviously, I have my own truck, that kind of thing. All the fun stuff there. Yeah. And I would say I played this game more than I play Euro Truck. Like, I think, how many hours do I have in this game? I think actually, let me check. How many hours do I have in this game? Let me go into Steam real quick. I have 131.6 hours. So, yeah, I have... Definitely do play this game a lot. Both, obviously I'm streaming it right now, but I do like playing this game like off stream, just kind of, you know, like chill. I don't know, I like driving, that's the thing. Like, I know it's kind of interesting because like a lot of people just don't like driving, you know, they have to do it because here in the United States, you know, a lot of the cities don't have good public transit, or like, you know, they're too spread out, so you kind of have to have a car to get around. But for me, I kind of do like driving. So it's now that I have a car, because I was living in Chicago, and I just moved over here to LA a month ago. So I didn't have a car when I was living in Chicago because I could rely on the transit. Obviously, that's not the case here, so I bought the car. But yeah, that is, I guess one part of it is I do like driving. Yeah, for Euro Truck, I only have like 29.7 hours, so not as much. I do have all the DLCs for both games in terms of map DLCs, so that's got those on sale. Yeah, it is fun, and I'm looking forward to when they add some of the states that I lived in. I know Illinois is one. I think Louisiana I know is next on the docket, and then it'll be Illinois, and then South Dakota. Really looking forward to Illinois because, you know, I mentioned I lived in Chicago. I've driven down I-90 a ton. Both growing up, because I lived in Wisconsin, so you know, going to Chicago, take I-90 down there. So I'd really be kind of interested to see how they kind of handle that. And then obviously when they get to Wisconsin, I'd love to see how they model that, because I'd love to see some of the cities that I've been to, grew up in, that kind of thing. I like this game because they're always adding new states. Yeah, no, that I agree. You know, I'm definitely looking forward to when they eventually have all these states in the game. I'm really curious to see how they handle like some of the eastern states, like Rhode Island, I was about to say North Carolina, that's not right. Like some of the smaller states, like the New England states, like how they're gonna handle the scales there. Because if they're gonna keep the 120 scale, it's gonna be absolutely, it's gonna take like 2 seconds to get to this to the states and back. So I don't know, maybe they'll increase the scales there or something, but they have to do something. And also how they're going to handle like the DLCs, like are they just going to sell just Rhode Island? Because that feels like that would be stupid. Or if they're going to like group them together like how they do with like some of the Euro Truck stuff. But we'll see, that's a way in the future. That's a future thing to worry about. I drove a real semi-truck for about 6 months. It was wild. You look in your mirror and the trailer never ends. Man, yeah, that's interesting, because it's like, this game definitely has given me a greater appreciation for truck drivers, because it's like, you know, like you're driving down the highway, you know, obviously the truck, especially here in California, where the law is that you can only drive, like the speed limit is 55 for trucks, where it's like, you know, they're obviously really slow, because most of the speed limits here are like 65 for the highway, so it's like they're usually just being really slow, and you're like, oh, these trucks are so annoying, I hate them. But it's just like, playing this game definitely gives me a bigger appreciation for how freaking hard it is to drive a truck. And yeah, man, I cannot imagine all the things that you have to do, like the practice you have to go through. It's so much more different driving a truck compared to like driving a car. It's just like a lot of the stuff there. It's like you just have to. It's a lot of work for sure. I've lived in California for a long time now, in Las Vegas, and it's nice how they're pretty accurate in states. For sure, yeah. I do also appreciate ever since they did the California rework, and obviously, like I said, I've been only playing this game for 6 months, so I didn't really experience what it was like pre-development or pre-redevelopment for California. But based on what I've seen for some of the states that definitely need revamping, I can definitely say, yeah, you know, appreciate that they go and do reworks for some of the stuff. Because there are definitely areas, both in this game and Euro Truck, that definitely need revamping for sure. What the frick are you doing? That was not my fault. I'm gonna be actually I'm gonna actually be a law-abiding citizen. I'm actually gonna wait because I need to take a break a little bit. 55 miles while towing California. Yeah, it's understandable. I understand why, because like driving really fast in a truck is different compared to driving really fast in a car, because obviously more mass, takes longer to have to stop, that kind of thing. So it makes sense, you know, why it's slower. I always think it's funny, like in states like Utah or like Idaho or something, where it's like, oh yeah, speed limit's 80 for everyone, and it's just like, man, imagine going 80 in a truck. It's like, that is scary. Like, I do that all the time in this game, but like if you're just like doing that IRL, it's just like, oof, no, I cannot do that. Oh, I just need to take a water break there. That's why I'm okay. Now we're done. We're done being law-abiding citizens. Excuse me. Excuse me. Thank you. Have a good day. Yeah, but oh man, what was I was talking about? Yeah, yeah. No, definitely looking forward to the new states for sure. At this point, I think, because originally I'm just like, man, I think I'll just wait for the sales. But at this point, you know, I played this game so much that I might as well just buy it as it gets released. You know, support the developer, support SCS, that kind of thing. You know, they do good work. They definitely do good work with a lot of the stuff there. So yeah, we'll just pay full price. You know, it's fine. I don't spend my money a lot anywhere. I don't spend my money on a lot of things, so it's all good in the hood. But yeah, going back to what you're saying, it's Las Vegas, right? Yeah, it's Nevada. It's interesting because like I think one of the things that I've heard about, and I can't say for certain because I actually haven't driven that much in this game in Nevada, but I've heard that Nevada isn't really that well modeled in this game, which is kind of interesting. And I can based on my limited experience, I can kind of agree with that. I feel like compared to like, I mean, obviously California did their rework, right? But like, and obviously some of the other newer states are obviously going to be better. But yeah, it does feel like Nevada is one that they might want to have to rework, which I think they are doing that, right? They're doing like the Route 66 rework for some of the areas in that. And I feel like Nevada was definitely, was Nevada one of those? No, that was probably Arizona. But either way, like they're still probably gonna like rework some of those areas. I know they're definitely doing that for Route 66. I know that I've seen some of the updates for that, so we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, good old LA and Las Vegas and all that. I guess going back to what I was originally talking about, which I don't even know how we've gotten to this tangent. Yeah, mall. So went to the mall, got my stuff, all that fun stuff. And then by that point, I was just so tired because you know I was non-stop walking. This was like 6 hours after I did all the stuff there. Also, thanks Dodge Toe for the follow, much appreciated. Yeah, so it's like 5-6 hours after I left my house, and I'm just like, well, I'm tired. I'm gonna go home now. And then that's how I got here, because I think it was literally like, yeah, it's like did that, and then I was just like, okay, great. Now I can start stream. So that was my day. That was the long-winded explanation of how my day went today. TLDR, went to a whole bunch of places, got my display cabinet. It's so heavy, by the way. That display cabinet, I mean, it's glass, obviously, so it's pretty heavy, but like, boy, oh boy, that's going to be fun to build. Also, hey, Gore, thanks for the lurk. As always, much appreciated. Hope you're having a good Saturday. Yeah, so hope you're having a good one. Yeah, it's IKEA furniture. I don't know. I've said this a lot in the past, where it's just like, I know it feels like the popular opinion is like IKEA, people don't like building IKEA furniture. It's like, oh, it's a pain. Like, I'd rather have other people build it. It's like, But my unpopular opinion is that I actually kind of like building IKEA furniture, and maybe this is kind of biased because a lot, well, yeah, you know, this might be biased because a lot of the stuff that I built isn't necessarily like the complex stuff. But then again, I built some pretty complex stuff. Like I built dressers, I built a display cabinet, which has glass and stuff. But then again, I haven't built like a really big, like, you know, furniture item. So maybe that might be clouding my opinions on that. But either way, I still feel like even like the big furniture items that I built, I've still had, maybe fun isn't the right word, but I still enjoyed it, you know? I didn't, I wasn't having a miserable time when I was building the stuff. It wasn't like an ordeal that I had to kind of just like get out of the way. It wasn't like a chore or anything. It was like, oh, nice, I get to... In my mind, it's like adult Legos, right? And I feel like you can say that for like a lot of activities, like a lot of hobbies, like keyboards, a lot... It's funny, a lot of the hobbies that I have, I can kind of relate to adult Legos. Like for example, building my PC, I think maybe not a good comparison, but it's like building my PC, I was just thinking like, man, this is kind of like adult Legos, you know, you have all your pieces, components, and then you're trying to, you know, like assemble them together, and then you have your final product, except in this case, instead of just a Lego piece that, or set that you can just look at, it's an actual computer that you can use, so it's nice, it's better. Same thing with like keyboards, mechanical keyboards, which is another hobby that I have. It's just like, there's a lot of them that you can kind of just have pre-built, but the nice thing about the mechanical keyboard hobby is that you can customize it. You can customize a lot of stuff with mechanical keyboards, like the switches, the keycaps, a lot of the components. Like you can add foam boards to make the sound a little bit more, I don't know, like muted, that kind of thing. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can go into with that stuff. And in that way, it's also like Legos, because it's like, oh yeah, you're just building, you know, you have all your components, you're building it together. You can even be a bit more advanced. You can do like soldering, if you really want to do, you know, like level up, that kind of thing. But I haven't done any of that stuff. It's all the stuff that I build is kind of like pre-soldered, PCBs, that kind of thing. So nothing too crazy, but still, you know, I've built a few PCs. I've built a few keyboards. I built one PC. I haven't built many pieces. I've only built the one so far, you know, and even that was a little bit of an ordeal. Because for those of you who build your PCs, or a PC, know there's a lot that goes into it, and it always feels like, you know, if you can get it to start up the first time without having any issues, you are absolutely lucky, because, you know, there's so many things that can go wrong with like PCs and like, you know, like the components and stuff. For me personally, I think the biggest issue that I had was that it just wasn't showing up, like, or it just wasn't starting up. And what the problem was that I just didn't have all the power cables plugged in, like with my GPU and to my motherboard, to the CPU, all that stuff. So a whole bunch of things that I just didn't have, because it's a little bit difficult, right? Because it's like you don't have, it's not like, oh, step one, step two. It's not like an IKEA furniture where it's like, you know, you have predetermined steps. Because there's so many things that can go into building a PC, like all the different range of parts and stuff, it's kind of hard to have a one-size-fits-all guide, step-by-step guide. Like there is some guides that can kind of help, but it is a little bit case-by-case basis depending on what components you have. And granted, it is nice because it's like, you know, there's still like a whole bunch of tutorials on YouTube and online for specific components and like how to build stuff with that. But yeah, I don't know. That was a little bit. Ooh, Echozilla is a good song. I like this one. I immediately recognize this. I need a water break. But yeah, it's kind of, I guess. It's funny because I'm just realizing now a lot of the hobbies that I have kind of relate to stuff that I did in my childhood. For example, watching anime. Well, what does that relate to? I don't know, watching cartoons? Not really though, because like anime equal cartoons isn't really... It's something that I think a lot of people, anime fans, are just like, oh, anime, there's like, people are like, oh, anime are just cartoons, or like, you know, it's just like, oh, it's just like I don't know, like a form, like my biggest pet peeve when it comes to anime is like when people think that anime is a genre, which I mean, in some ways I guess it kind of is because it's like, you know, it's a stylistic thing. But on the other hand, anime, you know, anime isn't just like all like one size fits all, one style sort of thing. Because there's anime out there that have completely different styles. Like I'm thinking like a ping pong, yeah, Masaki Yuasa's work where it's just like ping pong, the animation, mind game, all the other kind of works that he's worked on. Very, very different from what you think is like kind of an anime style. Because at the end of the day, anime is just short for animation. Like it's just like animation. It's just like it's literally just short for anime. It's really just Japanese animation. That's what it really comes down to. Also, I'm running out of gas, I realize, so I should probably get that filled up. Where's the nearest gas station? Where's the leak, ma'am? Oh, that's ultra convenient. It's literally right here. Nice. Okay, we'll go there. Yeah, so I mean, anime is not a genre, it's a medium, because anime has so many different wide ranges of stuff. Like, you can talk to any anime fans out there. Like, I can talk to an anime fan, or like somebody who watches anime, and we could be watching like two completely different styles of shows, and this is, I wouldn't say more often the case than not, but like a lot of my friends, like I was, I guess, yeah. So I was in the anime club in college. I guess, you know, nerd, you know, that kind of thing. But we were a social club. You know, we held game nights, we held showings, that kind of thing. We hosted a convention every year, all that fun stuff. Did that guy have his blinker on? I don't think so. I say that as I don't have my blinker on in this game ever. Not in real life, by the way. Another pet peeve is people gotta use their freaking blinkers. I don't understand people who don't use their blinkers. It's literally, but it's the most simplest motion. I don't understand why people don't do it. It's crazy. Luckily, that's not the hugest problem here, based on my limited experience, but it is still a problem where people don't use their blinkers, and I'm like, my god, why do you do this? I just so annoying. Anyway, sorry, that was a wild tangent. So wild that I completely forgot what I was talking about. Well, shoot. Oh well. It is what it is. Wait, actually, oh my god, oh my god, oh my jeez, okay. That was actually a close one. Alright, here's the gas station. Ah! That was a rock. That was in my way, okay. It's fine. This is apparently a gas station. I guess. Okay. Let's fill up. What was I talking about? Blinkers, car lights? Oh god. This happens sometimes where I just get into tangents and then suddenly I forget about what I was talking about. Oh, anime, right. Oh, wow. I almost friggin' knocked over something on my desk. Yeah, so I was in the anime club during college. And like we had a lot of members in our club. We had a lot of officers, some who are still my friends to this day, and some who actually still live in this area. That's the thing, which was kind of nice about moving to LA, is like I wasn't alone. I had a lot of people who were friends in college who still live in this area, or not still live. I guess still live in this area because they lived here when they were growing up, and then they moved back. I went to college in the Bay Area, which, if you don't know, is like Northern California. It's what is kind of considered Northern California. Technically, it's not Northern California because it's like Central area, and like true Northern California is like completely different. But people call it NorCal, you know, NorCal versus SoCal, that kind of thing. The rivalry there. So yeah, I went to college in that area. And so that's how I knew a lot of people who live in this area, who moved back after college and got jobs in this area. So it's nice that I have some people who I knew who... Why are you in the right... You're gonna have to merge eventually, my guy. But all that to say that, you know, we share a common denominator. That's not the right word, but like we share a common interest in anime. But that doesn't mean that we like the same shows because, you know, for example, one of my friends likes watching like not action, like yeah, shonen, like action-y type of shows, doesn't like, or not hates, but doesn't watch slice of life comedy romance, which is the stuff that I watch. So like even as like even if we want to talk about stuff that anime, it's like it's hard because we don't watch the same stuff, even though we're both watching anime. So that kind of goes into that idea of like yeah, anime isn't a genre, it's a medium. So that was my TED talk on that. Yeah, but it's all fun and it's all fun and stuff. I do have some friends who share common interest in the stuff that I watch. General comedy, romance, slice of life, that kind of thing. Those are my jams. Which I said this a lot and I'll say it again. I do not watch that much anime that these days. Like I really just read manga more than anything because I feel like that's a lot more convenient. There are definitely a lot of good manga out there, and it's interesting because yeah, you read the manga and then eventually they get adapted into the anime. For example, is it currently? It is currently airing. It's what's the English title? It's like the fragrant flower blooms, blah blah blah. It's like Kaoru Hana to no Rin Tosaku or something. I don't remember the exact title. It's the one where it's the delinquent school and then the freaking rich girl school, and then they're right next to each other, and then like one of the guys from the school runs into like one of the girls from the other school, and then they fall in love, blah blah blah. I used to read the manga for that. Very good romance manga, by the way, but I eventually got tired of it. One of my biggest complaints was they just can never stop apologizing, and it just feels like it's just an apology fest. It became a meme on the manga subreddit where it's just like apology counter, where it's like the number of times they apologize this chapter, which, yeah, I mean that definitely becomes more of a problem during the later chapters, but yeah, earlier chapters I definitely feel like it's definitely the case where it's like, oh, it's a nice little romance story, and it's nice in that I think do they eventually get together? I don't remember, but I don't remember. Do they officially become a couple? I don't remember. I think they do, but like that's the thing, right? Where it's like anime romances, it feels like more often than not end whenever the confession happens or like they get together. So it's really nice and refreshing when you have an anime romance where there's actual couple things and actual romance things, like not just like, oh, the hunt for the relationship or that kind of thing. It's like, no, here we go. Here's the actual things that happen. So like, and it does feel like recently there's been a lot more of those kinds of stories where they actually continue on after the relationship is established. I'm thinking stuff like Kaguya, Dangers in My Heart. There's definitely other stories like that where it's like, oh, they actually do eventually keep on. It's not just like they end when the relationship happens. It's like it continues on. Or you have stories where they immediately get together, and it's not just like the progression of the relationship. It's like immediately like, here we go, here's the relationship. That was a horrible attempt at a snap. There we go. It's like immediately they're just like, yeah, they just immediately get together. Here's their story of their relationship. I guess the most recent example I can think of that is like, I have a crush at work, which I still need to finish that. I've watched like a few episodes, and it's a very nice romantic. It's refreshing in that, one, the relationship is already established, and two, it's an adult romance, which again, or maybe not again, but like that's the thing with a lot of anime, not just romance anime, but anime in general, is like a lot of them focus on high school settings. So it's nice change of pace when it's not the case, and it's like either like even college, like Food for the Soul is technically in a college setting, even though the girls look like they're in freaking middle school. I mean, that's Moe show, so it's whatever. But it's nice when you have a kind of an adult romance or adult themed show in general. It feels like it's kind of rare. Feels like a lot of the times it's just a romance, or not romance. It's just like high school, middle school, that kind of thing. I don't know why that is, but it just happens to be like that. Where are we going, by the way? I completely forgot. because I saw that this is going over to San Francisco slash Weed, which I was about to make a comment that we're heading over to Weed, 420 Blazed, but I don't remember where. Oh right, no, there is a city called Weed in it's either California, it's somewhere around this area. Obviously it doesn't show here, but like I do remember that there is a city called Weed. Oh right, we're going to Reading. I forgot about that. Yeah, maybe I'll try and accept a job that goes over here to this area. Yeah. It's funny now that I'm looking at this because it's like, obviously they can't model everything, but man, this is, it's interesting because they don't even have the highway that I take to work every day, or not every day, but like the highway that I take to the office, which I'm not going to say, but they don't have it here, which is interesting to say the least. Where would it be actually? This is the 710. The 110, the 405, the 5, the 10. I don't know, it'd be like over here maybe. They don't even have the city that I live in actually, which is kind of unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway. And it makes sense, because like the city I live in isn't necessarily known for trucking or like trucks. And like they really only model areas that are kind of more industrial, more kind of places where trucks travel. So like that's the thing that I'm kind of, you know, honestly gonna be anticipating whenever Illinois comes out, is that I mean, obviously they're gonna model stuff for Chicago, you know, the skyline, famous buildings, Sears Tower. It's not the Willis Tower, it's the Sears Tower, that's very important. But they're probably not gonna, you know, like have access to like downtown or anything. It's probably just gonna be like kind of more of the outskirt area. Oh, that train appeared out of nowhere. It's going to be more the outskirt areas, like the suburbs, that kind of thing, which is absolutely fair because that's where the trucks are. Because I don't even think trucks are allowed downtown. I could be wrong on that, but I feel like that's the thing where like I think it's a rule where like trucks aren't allowed to be downtown because obviously that would be chaos, and that would absolutely suck. And I can tell you, even though I didn't have a car when I was living in Chicago, as somebody who has been downtown quite a bit, it is absolute chaos and hell driving downtown, and I never would want to do that ever in my life, even as somebody who likes driving, because it is absolute shit show. So I'm not going to do that, and I didn't do that. So... And the few times that I had to do that was absolutely the worst time of my life, so no thank you. Yeah, driving in like a very, like those kind of dense urban downtown areas sucks. It's terrible, I hate it. People are crazy, people are stupid, it's so packed, it's like, it's terrible, I hate it. Conversely, you know, and that was kind of the thing that I was a little bit worried about when I was moving over here, is like, oh god, how's the driving gonna be whenever I, you know, drive around, not just like the highways, but like kind of the city. But I guess that fear was a little bit unfounded, because I don't really live in an area that's kind of very, like, that kind of has that problem of being so densely packed, so, you know, so crazy, chaos, that kind of thing. Like, I live in a pretty, relatively, I wouldn't say the most quiet area, but like relatively quiet area. And so the driving hasn't been that bad. And honestly, I'll say this, you know, it's the not conundrum, but it's the thing where everybody says, oh, my city's drivers are the worst drivers ever. Like, it feels like, you know, when I was living in Chicago, it's like, oh, Chicago drivers are the worst. Chicago drivers suck. When I was living in the Bay Area, oh, the Bay Area drivers suck. Oh, they're the worst in the country. Kind of the same thing here in LA. It's like, oh, LA drivers suck. You know, like, oh, whenever it rains, you know, like, it's just like everybody drives like a maniac, Mad Max, that kind of thing. Which, I mean, that might be true. I haven't experienced that yet, but yeah, it feels like they just complain about the drivers. The drivers here aren't the worst that I've experienced. I can tell you from my limited experience driving in Chicago, from my experience driving in my hometown, from the experience that I've driven in other cities in the country, this is not, like, the drivers here are not the worst drivers. Maybe, you know, no, I'll say it, by far they are not the worst drivers that I have seen or experienced. I feel like if we're talking horrible driving, and I guess it depends on your definition of horrible driving, because there are different layers to it, but I feel like contenders, I mean, Boston, based on my limited experience, and I think it has to do a lot with like kind of the structure of how that city is, because it's such an old city, because it is, the roads are so weird, and the way that the roads are is just, it's just topsy-turvy. Maybe that might have something to do with it. Maybe it's just a general attitude of people in the city. I don't know, but like, I've been to Boston twice, few times in my life. Yeah, the drivers are, God, insane. Especially like if you get an Uber sometimes, it's just like, oh my goodness, my God, some of those drivers, no regard for human life. Oh boy, those were experiences, but I don't know. I'm not, I wouldn't say I've been to a lot of cities. I've been to quite a few cities around the states, both in the states and like out of the country. Like I've been to other countries. I've been fortunate enough, maybe even privileged enough to be able to, when I was growing up, be able to go to a lot of cities. My mom had a annual conference that she'd go to, which would be held in different cities every year. So she'd take me along because I was raised single parent household. So like if I wasn't brought along, then it was just like I would be alone. So like it kind of was more of an obligation than anything that I kind of had to be brought along. But it was also kind of nice because it gave me an opportunity to kind of go to different cities, explore different cultures, that kind of thing. So I've been to, because of that, I've been to cities like Atlanta, Boston, Dallas, San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, before I moved in that area for college. What other cities? I think those are pretty much the big cities. New York, and then when I was about to head to college, this was I think my senior years, or junior year, because you got prepared for that shit for junior year. I was touring different colleges, so that was also kind of how I was able to go to places like Boston, New York, Bay Area, Los Angeles, because a lot of the cities, or a lot of the colleges that I was looking into were ones that had good CS programs, computer science. I guess CS is kind of one that abbreviation that has a lot of different meanings, but yeah, computer science, because that's kind of what I wanted to go into. Eventually went to data science, but you know, that's a whole nother story. Data science, applied mathematics. Anyway, so a lot of the schools I was targeting were like a good school, because I was, not to brag or anything now, but I was a relatively good student, maybe even a pretty good student, maybe even one that could be accepted into some of those prestigious colleges, so like a Stanford or like a MIT or like a Columbia. So like I toured a lot of those colleges, Caltech, that was another one I went to. I'm not going to say which college I ended up going to. I guess me saying that I went to the Bay Area kind of limits that to maybe a few choices, but I'll just say, yeah, I definitely did not end up getting to my first choice. I won't say what it is, but definitely did not get to that one. Or my second choice, for that matter. I think I did end up getting into one of my top, like, 5 choices, and, like, there are obviously, you know, as you kind of apply for colleges, you obviously have, like, backup schools, safety schools, ones that are definitely going to accept you, just in case you don't get into any of your dream schools, which I did, so that was kind of the thing there, but ended up going to the one in the Bay Area, and that's where I went and lived for the first, or not first, but like 4 years of my life, 4 or 5 years of my life. I lived there for a year after I went to college, or graduated, and then I moved back home. But yeah, that is that. So yeah, I mean, been to a whole bunch of states. I guess all this to say, LA doesn't have the worst drivers. It's and again, I don't have the most experience. I've only really lived here for, it's about to be a month pretty soon actually, but really only had, but like I've driven a lot because I have to drive to work and stuff. I've driven everywhere for like weekend stuff. So I've driven my car around. I'd like to say that I don't have the most, or like, it's not the worst experience of people. Definitely, there have been a few crazy drivers. I haven't had the... And, like, in terms of, like, accidents and stuff, I mean, obviously I haven't been in an accident yet, and I haven't even really been in close calls. I think I mentioned earlier in the stream, I've definitely can confirm that my horn definitely works very well on my car, so take that for what you will, but just, I don't know, I'm just one of those people that, you know, in this game, obviously I drive like an insane person, but I be the defensive driver who, like in the highway, like for example, this, like, how I am spaced with the car in front of me right now in this game is about the distance that I actually honestly usually give whenever I'm driving down highways, just because I don't like being too close to the car in front of me. So, and it does work out because sometimes stops happen, sometimes shit happens, and then suddenly you're like, oh, and then you suddenly have to stop and that kind of thing. So that's, you know, better safe than sorry kind of thing. Gotta be defensive driver, you know. That's how that works. Because some people, even in the safe area, even in areas that don't have crazy drivers, there are crazy drivers. So that is how it be sometimes. You know, I probably should have eaten dinner before this, but also, I don't know. I guess I have the cookies that I bought. I bought a dozen of them, and I ate two while I was waiting for my IKEA stuff, so I still have like 10 cookies, and these are pretty decently sized cookies. Granted, I paid a pretty... No, yeah, I'll just say it straight up. I paid $30 for them. I think it was like a dozen cookies. Granted, they're like pretty big sized cookies. Like, I would say bigger than a hockey puck. Honestly, about the same... Is it the same thickness? A little bit thinner, but like, they're pretty hefty cookies. So honestly, even though I paid a pretty penny for them, I still think they're pretty worth. And like, heck, you know, I still have 10 of them left, so I'm gonna be savoring them throughout the next few days. Hopefully not eating them all within the next few days, but we'll see how good my self-control is, which, if history is any indicator, I will probably be finishing them within the next, 3 days. So, you know, that's my life. Speaking of speaking of health, speaking of my health, did I mention this? I don't think I did. Yesterday I went over to the doctor, not for... Oh wait, no, I think I did mention this yesterday's stream, but yeah, no, I went to the doctor to get my annual physical, also to get my dosage of my duloxetine, my antidepressant, down a little bit, because I have been feeling pretty good, I will say. I think I mentioned my first stream back, like the week before I moved here, like it was like the week before, the week during, and then the week after I moved over here were definitely very, very hard for me, and I think that's the case for a lot of people, whenever they experience moving halfway, not even just moving halfway across the country, just moving in general. Moving is a stressful thing. Like, you're uprooting yourself, you're changing a lot of the habits that you have, especially if you're moving to like a new area, like halfway across the country sort of thing. So it's to be expected that you're going to be experiencing a lot of stress, a lot of, you know, discomfort isn't the right word, but like a lot of that sort of, you know, pain of having to, you know, like deal with moving sort of thing. So yeah, definitely, like those weeks weren't great. And I was kind of expecting that because I experienced the same thing when I first moved to Chicago. That was so much worse because that took, I think, like a few months for me to get better, even with the antidepressant, because I was living with my parents for about 2 years. This was like, you know, during the pandemic, so I was like, I just moved in back with my parents, moved out of my apartment, decided to just kind of live there for a few years, And then it was finally like after like I think like 2 or 3 years back, living alone again for the first time in a few years. So it was just kind of trying to remember how to do that and like kind of experiencing that. So in that way, this experience or like moving here this time around, the second time around, was a lot more easier because I already remember, because I've already sort of have that whole thing of, yeah, I remember how to, you know, like live alone sort of thing. It's not like I have to remember how to do that, so it is nice that I don't have to do the shenanigans and all that. Oh boy, can we do this? Oh, wait a second. Oh, this one's not that bad. Oh, hold on. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna shut up now, and I'm gonna concentrate on getting this. No, that is the right way. Yes, that's the right way. I'm gonna get this over to this tight space. This big load into a tight space, if you know what I mean. Vehicle. Oh, I was like, oh, excuse me, vehicle. I know my vehicle's broken. Yes, I'll get that fixed eventually. Ugh. Man, yeah, this is a tight space. Good old tight space for this vehicle, if you know what I mean. Oh boy, I think I overdid that. Okay, hold on. I can do something. That. Okay. Crash it. I don't care. Oh, okay. Okay, and then those bad boys. Do that. Oh boy. Okay. Oh boy. Oh, hibbity hobbity. Okay. Okay. One of those. And then get that over there. What am I doing? No. Oh, frick. I just undid all my progress. Oh, no. Wait. Other way. Watch as local penguin doesn't know how to frickin' park a truck. Even though I've been playing this game for so long. Well, not so long. For a good amount. Watch as I struggle to try and figure out how to do this. Man, thank goodness for this camera angle, though. Imagine if I had to do it in, like, first person. That would be... Imagine if you had to do this IRL. Man, that would suck. Can't imagine. Okay, I think we got pretty good there. Make some minor adjustments. Okay, good. Making good there. Get some more there. Go there. Okay, oh, hold on. Okay, that's good. So let me correct myself over here. Get that in the way. Get this. Yabamo. Wabamo. Ablamo. Okay. Okay, I need to correct a little bit more, but that should be good for the most part. I mean, I don't need to be perfect, is the thing. Like, this game's kind of relatively forgiving with how you back into these areas. Although I do want to be a little bit perfect. I think I'm a little bit too close to the right. Let's see if this game will help. Let's see if it'll be forgiving. Oh, it's forgiving, thank goodness. Okay. Good enough for me. Okay. What? Damage penalty? Wait, when did I damage my thing? Did I ever? I don't remember that. Okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, let me find the nearest rest spot. And then I'll take a job somewhere. Where's the nearest rest area? Probably right here. Okay, let's do it. Let's drive on over. Whoop the whoop. Whee! Try and find the job that goes over to Los Angeles. I think the funny thing is that in this game I actually have my headquarters in Los Angeles. And this was obviously when I first started this game, before I even moved to this area, so it's kind of funny looking at it now that, you know, that became a self-fulfilling prophecy where I ended up moving to the actual area of headquarters that I have in this game. Predicting the future? Am I psychic? You never know. you never know. Okay. Alright. Let's get saucy. Actually, another thing too is I might as well fix my vehicle too, because I do have it at a not great percentage, so I think was there a thing there? There is a thing. Perfect. Love that for me. Okay. Wonderful. Let's see. I guess another thing, well, I'm thinking, because it's like, do I want to... I'm trying to think of what my plan is. I think I'm going to try and get a job that goes over to Los Angeles, and then once that's done, I might do some just driving around, just try and find some landmarks and stuff, check off some photo trophies, get some cutscenes going, because I do like doing that. Just driving around all willy-nilly, that kind of thing. Not willy-nilly, but like just driving around like this without any trailer and just kind of making progress on the amount of, oh my goodness, amount of percentage of map that I have. Because I think I'm at 49% right now. I'm at 49.14%, yep, of explored area in this map. Which that number is not gonna go... That number is never gonna get anywhere close to 100% unless I try to do that. Oh, that tree needs to be cut down. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could do that, but like, I'm not gonna rush trying to get 100% exploration. Because at the end of the day, it's still... how did I damage myself there? At the end of the day, I'm still going to... Like, obviously they're going to keep adding new maps and states. In fact, I've heard rumors, apparently, aren't they supposed to be adding British Columbia, apparently? I've heard that they might even be adding, like, some of the Canadian stuff, because I know Alaska might be one that, that might be kind of interesting. God, could you imagine trying to do Alaska? Big state there, all snow, all the fun stuff there. Yeah, I've heard rumors about that, so, you know, that could be a thing. Okay, got that fixed up. Let's get the rest going, because I am tired, just like I am IRL. Well, not really. I also had... I think that's like... Wow. Porky pig. Guess I forgot to mention I did... oh no. I did get boba. Although that's not really anything too notable, because I feel like I get boba all the time. Oh, that's the thing I was going to mention. Yeah, yesterday I spent some time, because this is something I wanted to do for a while, actually creating a spreadsheet of all the expenses, like basically like expense for like budgeting, you know, trying to get myself to be more financially what's the word? Better financially, you know, I guess that's the best way of putting it. Trying to be better at that, because like I feel like I don't really have a good grasp of how I spend my money and stuff, so I'm trying to be a bit more better about that. Make sure I'm not spending too much on Uma Musume and gacha games and stuff, which, man, I only mapped out... I have a little spreadsheet, like a little thing that I made of like, oh, here's like the expenses, here's their category, here's, you know, the date, how much I spent, that kind of thing, just so I can play around. Because as a data analyst, you know, I love, you know, like finding trends and, you know, like playing around with data and that kind of thing. So this thing's right up my alley. Even though generally I don't do that kind of thing on my off time, because I do a lot of that during my work. But I'd rather not do a lot of that during my off time. Except in this case, I feel like this is one of those things where it's like, oh, it's not that complex of analysis, so I can still do something like this for fun. But yeah, no, I'm definitely doing that, and I'm like, my god, the amount I spent this month solely on Uma Musume, because I had to spend money for gems to be able to pull for the characters in the Japanese version of the game. I don't spend money on the English version, because, you know, can you imagine? But because I already spent way too much money on the Japanese version. and I don't want to have to go through that whole process again for the English version. In fact, I'm not too active on I think I said this before, I'm not too active on the English servers anymore at this point. Like, I'm still trying to complete as many runs as I can for the current event that's going on, which unfortunately I need to do 30 freaking runs because they still haven't updated that, those goals for the event, like little banner thing. But so there I am, just having to do 30 runs, and unfortunately there's no auto-run feature, so here I am having to do that. But there's still like a week left in that event, so I still have some time. But then there's also the, not conundrum, but there's also the little situation that I have to farm fans for my Japanese game because the end of the month is coming up pretty soon, and I'm kind of behind on that. But luckily for that, I can auto-run. In fact, I could probably do that right now while I'm streaming. Do I want now? I won't do that. Does require me to kind of pay attention still, because there might be times when I get a new card event. Oh, it's right here. Ah, shnikes, it's right here. I might have times where it's just like a new event, and then it's just... and then the game automatically pauses itself, and then it's just like, well, I guess I have to manually have it continue, and then you're just kind of SOL in that sense if you're not paying attention, so... and then it's just stuck on that screen. So you do have to pay semi-attention to that kind of thing. But, nah. Dude, I spent way too much this month on just Uma Musume. It's actually kind of shameful at this point. I need to... That's the thing, I don't spend too much money in general on gacha games, but I do have no hesitation when it comes to that stuff, which is kind of not great. Just for Uma Musume, I'd like to add. Like, all the other games I play, like Gakumas, and when I used to play Project Sakai, like Project Sakai and D4DJ, I did not spend that much money, especially on rhythm games, because really there's no reason you should be spending, or maybe I shouldn't say it like that, but like it doesn't seem like there's a good reason for me to spend money on Uma Musume, or like in rhythm games, because you're spending it for cards. You're not spending it for, like, the gameplay itself. Like, you're not spending them for new maps. And if you are, then, my god, you're playing a horrible rhythm game because, like, wow, you really have paid to... I mean, nah, there are rhythm games that have maps that you can only get through, like, DLCs and stuff, but generally speaking... Oh, traffic jam. What is going on? Generally speaking, a lot of those rhythm games, you know, they have all their maps available for free. At least the mobile games that I'm thinking, like a Project Sakai, D4DJ, Bondori, that kind of thing. Like, a lot, those maps are all free. So, like, gameplay-wise, you can just pretty much get away with, as long as you... And if you keep playing the game, you're still gonna get enough jewels to be able to do pulls occasionally. You'll get cards through events and stuff. So really, like, if you play for, like, couple of months, if not a year, you'll have strong enough teams where that doesn't end up becoming a concern in terms of having strong enough cards for events and stuff, and like PvP and like all those events. So I've never spent money, or that's a lie. I've never spent that much money on those types of games. The only times I've had are when there's like really amazing card art that I need to have a card of like my favorite character or something, but generally that's not the case. Unfortunately, with Uma Musume, the issue becomes, you know, that the gameplay, because like when you pull for characters, you know, they have different scenarios, different storylines, so the gameplay, like, you need different characters, or like, you don't need different characters, but it's different from like a rhythm game where it's like all the maps are available, you don't need to spend money to get those. The different scenarios for characters are locked by having to roll for the characters for the gachas, so it's a little bit of an unfortunate situation there. So all that to say, I need to stop spending money on Uma Musume, and I need to be a little bit better about spending money on those games, because yeah, I definitely spent way too much this month on that. But yeah, budget is nice. It's nice to see all those numbers enumerated, and like shown as data points in my face, because now I can be like, oh, I spent too much money on this, I spent too much money on that. Oh, I can afford to maybe spend more money on this. Like, how much money do I usually spend on groceries? How much money? And then from that, I was able to calculate like how much money I have left over between, like, from starting from the salary that I get per month, which I get paid twice a month, so it's actually more like 2 times, or like, basically like how much salary I get per month, plus, or like subtracting all the expenses that I have between rent, utilities, car payment, groceries, and then seeing like how much is left over from that, for kind of like how much I can spend per month for like entertainment, like hobbies, that kind of thing. And I already kind of had a sense that, yeah, I have to spend a lot, because the rent. Granted, my apartment's great. I love my apartment. I have a lot of space. This little area that I'm in right now is like a kind of nice office area that I can just kind of have for like gaming and/or work setting. I have a gym that's available. There's like a nice little patio area, outdoor grilling area sort of thing. So it's nice, but it's also hella expensive. So there's that, plus the utilities. Dude, I got my first utility bill like a week ago. Holy frick, I spend so much money on electricity and everything, because I have to pay for every utility. That includes the gas, like the gas for heating, the trash, the water. I have to pay for all of that. Unfortunately, none of that comes included for my specific building, so it sucks because it means I pay a lot for that as well. And then I also have to pay my car, which also kind of eat ups for that. So between all of those, I already kind of knew that I am a little bit tight for money in terms of stuff that I can, like available money I have for like my hobbies, entertainment, that kind of thing. Ooh, we're driving down to 5. Let's go. So yeah, I already knew that. But what's nice about the budget is it was able to show me, like actual number. Here's the number that I have left over, and then obviously that I can use that, but then it's also like I should probably, out of that much, I should probably, or I probably should, I need to save like a certain amount, either. And I guess that's the thing where it's like it didn't count contributions to like my Roth IRA or my 401k, or the 401k contributions already come out of my paycheck, so that's one thing. But like, yeah, the 401k contributions, like that one I didn't include. So actually, yeah, I really don't have that much money left over at the end of the day for any like saving, or like not savings, but like any entertainment and stuff. And I'm not gonna say the exact amount because I don't have to, and I don't want to get too detailed about that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, I really don't have that much money left over, which is fine. Like, I don't really spend too much money, but I spend a lot of money between like my hobbies and stuff, like keyboards, and got my figures coming soon, which actually I'm kind of a little bit, because if y'all don't know, if you don't know, there's been the whole situation with the tariffs in the U.S. Not to get too political, but yeah, tariff. That's not even a political thing. That's just that's just the economy thing. Tariffs have been happening. So there's been a whole thing with anime figures where Ami Ami especially, which Ami Ami, if you don't know, is like I guess one of the biggest stores that you can buy not just figures, but like general anime goods from, like an online store that they ship over to you straight from Japan. The unfortunate thing about that is because they ship it straight from Japan, before it was just like, oh, that's fine, the de minimis or whatever, that exception is just like, yeah, you didn't have to pay like an extra for the tariffs. But now it's the case where it's like, oh, you have to pay the de minimis or whatever, or I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, but like you have to pay like the certain, like the tariffs, the fees and all that. So now we're at a bit of a limbo where they're not Ami Ami, and I'm not sure about other companies. Maybe other companies are dealing with it differently, but Ami Ami is where I bought a lot of my figures for pre-order. If you don't know, like they have the kind of system in place where you pre-order your figures. You don't pay for it when you get the pre-order, when you like complete the pre-order. You pay for it when it's ready for shipping, that kind of thing. At least that's their system. So technically I haven't spent a cent on any of the pre-orders I have right now, but and some of the figures are already available and ready. I know because some people have already gotten the figure, and not that it's something that I'm really too frustrated complaining about, because I don't really care. You know, it'll arrive when it'll arrive. You know, I still have, heck, I don't even have my display cabinet. I still need to build that either today or tomorrow. Figure that out so that I can have my figures up and ready for display or whatever. But yeah, so right now, Ami has it where it's just like it's kind of in a bit of a limbo where they're just kind of holding the figures in their warehouses until, you know, they can sort out all the tariffs and stuff. So right now I'm just like, even though I think, technically I think one of my figures was supposed to come out in August, one of them was supposed to come out in September, which if you don't know, it's almost the end of September, so they both should be here by now. Hey, Los Angeles. But yeah, they're not here, so they're just kind of in limbo. All that to say that in a way, it's kind of nice that this whole situation is happening. It's kind of a blessing in disguise, because if that wasn't the case, I'd have to spend, you know, like pay for the figures, because like I mentioned, I don't have to pay for them until they're ready to be shipped. So that also would have been a huge expense, another expense. I mean, I do have to pay for them eventually, I know, but like, it's just nice that down the road I can pay for them rather than, you know, like adding that further expense to my September report, which is already in the negatives in terms of profits minus expenses. It's very much in the negatives, I'll just say that. It's not a good month. It's a good thing I have a lot of savings left over from my previous job, because otherwise, oof, I would not be in good condition right now. But thankfully, I have money. I have, between what I have in my savings, and then between what I have in my 401k and my my accounts for all that stuff, stocks, bonds, that kind of thing. Like, I'm not terrible, but like, you know, it could be worse. Let's just say that it could be so much worse. Like I know people who are living paycheck to paycheck, don't have any savings, that kind of thing. Definitely very fortunate, very, I guess privilege is also another way of putting it, but like definitely very fortunate to be in the situation where I don't have to worry about that kind of thing. Yes, I am a little bit squeezed for between all the expenses that I have, to eating into my salary, my income, my paycheck or whatever, but still I do at least have some flexibility, some amount of money that I have left over for stuff that I can buy, so I'm a little bit fortunate for that. Turns out, you know, LA is a freaking expensive city to live in for good reasons, because it's very nice weather, you know, very big city, a lot of things to do around here, so, you know, obviously it's a big thing, you know, high cost of living sort of thing. So luckily I have a pretty good salary to compensate for that, but even then, yeah, between all the different stuff that I mentioned before that I have to take care of, it's just like, whew, sure have a lot to, you know, a lot that I have to take care of, but it's all good in the hood. It's all good, you know. It is what it is, you know. I'm having a good time here so far, you know. I've enjoyed living here, you know. I mentioned, you know, I had my stresses. I was like, oh god, you know, what if I don't like living here? What if I'm gonna be miserable? I love it here, you know. It's great, even though right now it's during the hot months. I'm sure, you know, as we get further into the year, and it becomes more and more cooler, I put in air quotes because it's like cold. It's cold. It's not gonna get that cold here compared to where I used to live. It'll be nice. It'll be nice to enjoy the weather and enjoy all that this city, not just this city, this area has to offer. That's the thing. It's not just LA. There's so many different cities around this area, and the nice thing about having a car now is that I can drive around and, you know, go to anywhere I want to go. So even though I'm not really a beach type of person, coming from somebody who actually doesn't know how to swim, it'll be nice. I you know, maybe go to the beach every once in a while, even though it's a little bit of a drive for me. It's still not horrible. Like, I can still get there at a relatively decent amount of time, so that's nice that that's an option. Like, I'm really excited at the opportunity to be able to kind of go everywhere, like not everywhere, but like all these different areas, like the beach, the mountains, the the desert, you know, all these different areas. Very, very excited at all the different nature thing, because I do like the outdoors. Don't get me wrong. You know, I am an introvert. I am kind of an indoor person. Like, I don't really like going out and about too much, but I do like going out for like hikes and nature and outdoor stuff. Like, that is something I do enjoy. So I'm very excited that I live here now, because Chicago, as much as I love Chicago and like how it was a very nice cost of living for such a big city, you know, it wasn't as expensive as here or like in New York, even though it's one of the biggest cities in this country. Like, it's still like relatively, as of now, I mean, it is getting more expensive. That is another thing which is kind of unfortunate, but for now it's still decently fine, relatively cost of living, that kind of thing. But so as much as I like that, as much as I like, you know, the way that the city's, you know, organized with the grid system and all the, you know, all the things I can talk about there. One of the big drawbacks about Chicago and the surrounding area is it's flat as hell. And there really isn't that great of a diversity of nature or like any outdoor activities. I mean, sure, you can like go to like, there's like some national parks and like forests and stuff, but you have to go like all the way to like Wisconsin or like Michigan or that kind of thing. So there really isn't that much in terms of like kind of diversity of those kinds of things. So it's really, really nice that I'm living in an area that has a wide range of activities that kind of I can do for that kind of thing. Very excited for that opportunity. Very excited as the weather gets colder and, you know, can kind of get more, I guess, more better weather for that kind of thing. I think today was a good sneak peek at that, even though I said that today was really nice weather. It was still kinda, well, no, it was like, the high was like, what, 80? So compared to last few days, last few weeks, where it was like in the 90s and that kind of thing, like, it was good. But I'm sure, I mean, obviously it's going to get a lot more cooler, like in the 70s, if not 60s, so I'm really looking forward to that. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about all that, stop talking about what I'm looking forward to, get a drink of water. Remember, everyone, hydrate or dihydrate. It's also a good opportunity for me to shut up and for y'all to have a nice moment of silence there. The other thing I wanted to talk about that I brought up is I don't know, I feel like I might be getting sick soon. I feel like it feels like a ticking time bomb for me, because I mentioned it, I alluded to it earlier, kind of in my TLDR of when I was talking about it earlier in the stream when I first started, but basically everybody in my office is getting sick, and I think it all started with one of the people in my office who's like a manager. Like, technically he's not my manager, like his role is a manager, but like he's not like the person I report to, sort of thing, in terms of like kind of how the organization works. But for all intents and purposes, he is kind of the manager. He's been with the company for a long time. Like, the guy who I actually report to, who is like the director, he's in meetings all day, but he's still nice, and he, you know, the times I message him, he still responds relatively quickly. But for all intents and purposes, he's only been in the company for like 2-3 years. The one thing about my company is there are a lot of people that have worked there for a long ass time. It is kind of insane. When I was initially doing interviews, like how, like, the people I interviewed, they were like, oh yeah, I've been working here for 20 years. Oh, I've been working here for 25 years. And I'm like, holy moly. Like, there are some people in my team that have been at the company longer than I've been alive. Like, that is insane. There's one person in particular who's been at the company since 1983. That is freaking insane. Think about that. 1983. That was 42 years ago. He has been at that company for 42 years. That is fucking crazy. There are people in that team, like, not just me. I mean, granted, I'm probably one of the younger people in that team, but like, there are a good number of people in my team who have not been alive for 42 years. So it is crazy that there are people who have been at that company for that long, who have that wide range of kind of experience. And my manager is one of those people. Not 42 years, but he's been in the company for like decade plus, I think. Like, it's been a while, so why are we slowing down? Hello? What is happening? Oh, there's a cop here. Uh-oh, what's happening? Oh, God. Oh. Wow, we got the 2 police cars here for this confrontation. Must have been a high-speed police chase or something, and then some criminal or whatever. I don't know. Anyway. Anyway, so tangent aside, so manager was the first person to get sick. I think he got it from his kids. And you know, normally it'd be like, you know, oh yeah, if you're sick, stay home. But he still went to the office, which I don't know why the frick he did that, because I mean, he had a mask on, so like I guess he tried to be a bit, you know, like cognizant of the fact that he was sick, and you know, he didn't want to, but it's just like, bro, if you know you're this sick, stay the frick home. And then the funny part about that is he still had to leave early because he was so sick that he was just like, oh, I can't work, like I have to take a sick day. So he went home early, and I'm like, if you knew you were this sick, why did you go to the office anyway? Like, I know we're supposed to be in the office 3 days a week, and I'm just like, this is the whole thing where it's just like, why do we have to be in the office 3 days a week? And it's like this whole culture of, oh, go back, you know, back in office sort of thing, when, you know, you could probably just get your job done in a remote setting anyway. And it's just like, I don't know. But that, all that aside, you know, he was the first person to get sick. And then slowly but surely other people start getting sick. And I think another part of that too is that there was this conference that a few people in my team went to as well. And then all the people from that conference started getting slowly sick one by one. And they were also in the office at work. And I was also in that office as well. And so it's to the point now where it's like, you know, it's like slowly, like eventually, like, you know, we get all these messages about, oh, sorry, like this guy, like, oh, it's like this person's like, oh, like messages. It's like, sorry, I'm going to be taking a sick day, you know, like I'm feeling too sick to work. And then eventually, like the next day, it's like, oh, this person reports sick. This person reports sick. It's getting to the point now where I'm like, you know, that's why I'm referring to it as a ticking time bomb, where it's like, am I going to be next? Like I'm in the office, you know, I'm in indoor setting with these people who, you know, like sure, they're fine, but you know, in a few days time they message the chat and they message the group and they're like, hey, I'm sick, sorry, I'm gonna have to take a sick day. And I'm like, that's not a good sign. You were working with me, I was in a meeting with you in a enclosed setting for an hour, and I work with you in an indoor setting for 8 hours. It's just like, if you're sick now, like, did I catch your sickness? Like, it's just like, I don't know. Thankfully, I haven't been feeling too sick. Unfortunately, and I did allude to this earlier, I am feeling a bit scratchy throat, or I was feeling a bit scratchy throat, coming back from the mall today. It's funny that I say that now, though, because I'm actually feeling a lot better, despite the fact that, you know, counterintuitive to the fact that, you know, I've been talking nonstop for 2+ hours. Yet apparently that's a cure, because my throat is feeling so much better now. It's no sense of scratchiness, no fits of coughing, that kind of thing, which I didn't have any fits of coughing, but like I definitely was like, you know, clearing throat sort of thing, so I'm feeling a lot better about that, which is kind of weird. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how that goes, but I was just like, you think that, oh, like if I do this I'm gonna make it worse, but I'm actually feeling better now. It's weird counterintuitiveness. Who knows? But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully I don't get sick. I'm fully anticipating every member of my team to be like, oh, like reports. It feels like at this, how many people? At this point, I feel like half of my team has taken a sick day. So at this point, I'm like, I feel like I'm next. You know, I'm next in line sort of thing. I sincerely hope not, because I know COVID's also become. I mean, it's also becoming flu season at this point, pretty soon, and I know COVID's also the new. I know, oh, COVID, or no, whatever, pandemic's over, but nah, COVID's still a thing, and yeah, the new variant's a thing, and I've heard that there's been a lot of cases of that, so we'll see how that goes. I'm of the So here's it's the thing, right? Where it's like I know there's cases of COVID where it's like in what is happening here? Why are we slowing down? Cases of in like what's the correct term for this? Non-symptomatic or whatever. Oh, I need to be in this lane. Like you don't have any symptoms, but you'd still technically have the virus, but you're actually not experiencing any of the symptoms, thankfully. Oh, that's a lot of garbage. Times like these when I really wonder, am I ADHD? I don't think I am. Or I shouldn't say that. I definitely, or I shouldn't say definitely, but like I'm like 95% sure I'm not. But there are cases where I'm just like, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so I mean, so I personally, I've never, and thankfully, I've never experienced any symptoms of COVID, but I feel like, and this is just a huge like assumption, feeling, you know, it's like it's not even like anything founded in truth or anything, but I feel like I definitely have had the virus at one point. It just was asymptomatic. That's the right word, asymptomatic. So like, I was one of the lucky ones where I didn't get any of the symptoms. But it also could be the case that, you know, maybe I just never got the virus in the first place. But I feel like it was, you know, between all the time, you know, like all the different, you know, being exposed to all the people that I have been around me. There have been times when I've been exposed, like in the same room with people where it's like later on they've gotten the virus and sort of thing. But I was fine, so I've just been like, you know, maybe I just did get it and I was asymptomatic and I was just one of the lucky ones. You never know. I don't know, but like, I have never gotten it. I don't know, from at least from what I can tell, I've not gotten COVID. I'm one of the few lucky people I think who have not gotten COVID yet. Knock on wood, but you know, I haven't gotten it yet. So thankfully that is the case. That does remind me that I need to get the vaccine, which actually, funny story about that. When I was getting my physical yesterday with my doctor, he was like, yeah, have you gotten your tetanus? It's like, when's the last time you got your tetanus shot? And I'm like, I don't remember. It's like, maybe it's been more than 10 years. Because I think, yeah, you have to get it every 10 years, right? So I'm like, maybe 10 years? I don't know. So it's like, all right, well, you know, it's like, and I don't know. I went to a clinic that was like a smaller clinic, so I don't apparently they didn't have like all the vaccines ready and stuff. So they were like, yeah, okay, so you know, go get your COVID shot, like the vaccine. Go get your the flu shot, and go get I guess go get the tetanus shot while you're at it. So I was like, okay, that's gonna be a fun experience, because man, imagine having to put all those, like, take all those at once in the same arm. Man, that's your arm is not going to be fun. That you're not going to feel fun for sure. But yeah, no, I definitely need to get the flu shot, and I definitely need to get COVID. It has been a little bit since I got the COVID vaccine, which I'm sure they have a new one that that is whatchamacallit, better for the new variants and stuff. So we shall see about that. But yeah, I'll probably, I mean, they have it anywhere, right? You can just go to the local pharmacy and just get that stuff, so I will do that. I might as well. I mean, actually, maybe I'll do that while I pick up my new medication, you know? Just get that all in one fell swoop. And then apparently I was looking at the map, because, you know, like I said, I plan ahead on this kind of stuff, but like, we're halfway there. There is a pretty good sandwich shop, or like there's a pretty good Italian goods store that has a pretty famous sandwich near the pharmacy where I'm gonna apparently need to pick up my medication. So there we go. Maybe I might do that. Go early, go get a sandwich, see how it is. Apparently it's the whole, and I'm not gonna say the specific place because obviously, you know, that's probably gonna incriminate where I live. But, and actually maybe I probably even shouldn't be saying the details of it, but the TLDR of it is apparently it's a sandwich that is not known for, you know, how amazing it is. It's more so the fact that it's pretty good, plus the fact that it's cheap as hell, which, you know, in this economy, I'm always down for a cheap sandwich. So You know, that's we'll go for that. So maybe I might do that tomorrow. Wait, is my prescription ready for pickup? I think that's the better question. That is always the question, right? Is my sandwich is my sandwich ready for pickup? No, is my medication ready for pickup? God, get through that. But man, after all the shit that, or not shit, well, no shit. After all the shit that I did today, I think I'm just gonna take it easy tomorrow, try and recover, get ready for the work week. But that doesn't mean I can't go out, so, and I do need to go out to get groceries anyway, so, you know, I might as well do that on the way, you know? Anyway, I think we're in LA, so hold on, where are we? We are, why did I do that? We are down here at the 5, and then we're gonna head over to the 10, okay. Wait, do I know what that is? Well, downtown would be like, well, I don't think they modeled downtown very well. This is downtown. So, and they don't have that highway. They don't have a lot of the highways that I usually go down, unfortunately, which is kind of unfortunate. Unfortunately, it's very unfortunate that they unfortunately don't have the unfortunateness of unfortunately not having the highways. It is what it is. But alright. So this is still a pretty neato burrito, you know? Just kind of, hey, I live in this area, you know? Kind of interesting to see areas that you live in modeled in this game, which I feel like they do a pretty good job for the most part, especially the newer maps. Can't say for certain with some of the older maps, but I mean, this game, like I said, has been out for a decade plus. Can't really blame them too hard for some of the older maps, and they do reworks anyway, so eventually they'll get to some of the old maps, like Great Britain. They definitely need to update Great Britain, based on my limited experience of driving through Great Britain in this game, not in this game, in Euro Truck Sim. Oof, they definitely need to revamp that a little bit, because man oh man, that one is in a desperate need for a refresh. Alright, where are we at? San Bernardino, Indio, Blythe. I don't think that's the usual sign that they put up there, but you know what? That's okay. And yes, the speed limit is 65. That is correct. Generally, the speed limit for these highways is 65. Granted, I'm one of those people that usually drives... This is probably gonna... You might think that this is probably gonna contradict what I said about me being, you know, safe driver, defensive and all that, but like, I'm usually... Whenever I'm on the highways, I'm usually one of those people that are on the left lane, going a little bit faster, 70, 75 if I can. Just because I don't know, I just want to get to my place faster. I don't know, it's just... But generally, I do try and follow the speed limit. It's just during the highways, I'm just not really... And also, wait, hold on, something's a bit up right now. My game feels a bit stuttery. I'm not sure if y'all are seeing that on your screen. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, I was gonna say, my game looks very stuttery right now. It's kind of weird. But like, if I'm looking at OBS right now, it doesn't look too bad. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, maybe stuttery isn't the right word, but it's lagging. It's lagging. Which is interesting because in the OBS it looks totally fine, but like on my screen right now, it's definitely looking like it's like a bit laggy. I'm not really the biggest. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Okay. Where are we? I don't know. Like I said, this game doesn't model areas that I drive through a lot, so it is what it is. And I guess that kind of is a little bit of a I wouldn't say dox, but a little bit of an indicator as to where I live, you know, because you can probably eliminate some of these areas, but LA is such a big area, or not LA, but like this SoCal, Los Angeles County, it's such a big area that it's just like, it's really hard to be like, oh, I can tell where you live based on the fact that I, you know, told about, you know, that hint or whatever. I don't know. Okay. Okay, oh my god, wait, this one is a little bit, this one's a bit, oh! That was close. Okay, oh, like this is gonna be a little bit of a shit show, but I can do this. I'm talented. I can do it. I hate when it's like this and I have to like... And I have to back up into this tight space. Back up my load into this tight space, if you know what I mean, giggity. But I think I can do it because I have talent and skills. In fact, look at that. Look at what I'm doing right now and tell me that that isn't talent right there. Oh, wait. Shit. Man, I don't know how truck drivers do it in real life though, because that, like, the fact of the matter is I am cheating by doing this kind of like this little third-person view because it's making it so much easier for me to figure out where I need to go. But like real truck drivers have to like, you know, like use their mirrors and stuff, and it's just like, how in the world do y'all do that? I cannot imagine. That is crazy. Shenanigans. Okay, anyway, that's probably not good. Let's find out. Is the game gonna be forgiving? Oh, it's gonna be forgiving. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your forgiveness. Alright. Excellent. Excellente. Alright, with that being said, it is, I'm still feeling pretty frisky. Still feeling pretty saucy. Here's what I think I'm gonna do. What are some of the achievements that I can... I know there's achievements for like, oh, drive through this area, drive through this, or whatever, do this. Let me take a quick look at those. My Steam page. What do we got? Oh, this is Euro Truck. Whoops. I was like, why do I have so few achievements? Here we go. Because there's fun little achievements, like for instance, like this Population 1 where you discover the town of Buford, or stuff like drive along the $1 Million Highway, or stuff like that. So I'm trying to find stuff that's like that, which is kind of fun, like allows me to do some fun stuff. Let's see. Trying to find some more rarer achievements. Salt Lake City. I can complete a delivery of vegetables over Cabbage Hill. It's not that fun. I can discover a shortcut through a forest in the New Mexico DLC. Deliver a boat to a marina in Washington. Deliver cargo to an aerospace company in Washington. Deliver cargo to... See, to deliver the cargo ones isn't as fun, though. Drive through the forest road to timber harvest in Bellingham. That could be fun. I don't think I've driven much in Bellingham in general. I'll say this. I've discovered all the cities, technically, in this game. Even with the new maps and stuff. Like, that's usually the thing I do every time I get a new map is, you know, try to deliver to as many of the cities as I can. And, you know, if I don't hit the cities, I just drive through the cities without any sort of cargo. But, I can visit the 45th parallel in Idaho. That could be fun. Or I can drive by the Billy the Kid Museum. Wait, this song's in this? Oh, shoot, this song's in this playlist. I didn't know that. This is a really popular song. Good old Invincible. Yeah, you know what? Let's do some of the New Mexico stuff. Drive by the Billy the Kid Museum. What was the other one? Discover a shortcut through a forest. Okay. Back to the game. Okay, New Mexico. Where is the Billy the Kid Museum, I think is the better question. It didn't say in the achievement. I do have this little thing over here that I can probably try and get to. Is there any other fun little... I mean, I can just be a little bit of a cheatsy-weetsy and like try and look these up online, which I think I will do that right now. Wait, what is achievement? I'm not gonna say Billy the Kid Museum. Fort Sumner. Is that on here? I don't think that would be on here. Yeah, okay. American Truck Simulator. I can't spell for shit apparently. 1881 requires you to go to the Billy the Kid Museum located in Fort Sumner. Where is it? That's the question that I have. Is Fort Sumner? It's not on here, right? Yeah, it's not. Gee, thanks. I love that you tell me where it is. That's really awesome. It is located US 54 junction of West Clovis. That is very helpful. Fort Sumner is a series west of Clovis. Clovis on here? Clovis. Ah, here we go. It's probably right here, the junction. Okay. I'm like trying to plan all this out. Okay. And then what is the other achievement? Achievement. American Truck Simulator achievements. Others. Driving Academy. DLC, Arkansas, Colorado. This is great content, by the way. I'm sure y'all are loving this. New Mexico. Discover shortcut through the forest. Where is the shortcut? Interesting. Where is that? Between Raton, and oh, okay. It would be right here. Oh, interesting. Okay. Unfortunately for me, these aren't necessarily close to each other. Here's what I think I might do. I'll transport myself over to Clovis. Let's quick travel over to Clovis, because I can do that. Wait, can I? I sure can. Let's do that. I'll quick travel over to Clovis. I'll hit the Billy the Kid Museum. I'll hit that, the checkpoint, or the cutscene or whatever, and then I'll transport myself over to Raton, and I think that might be good. Do I have any? No, okay. Actually, before I do that, well, actually, no, I'm good. And also, I need to go this way. And then I think I'll probably end stream there, just because I want to make sure I don't use my voice too much, in case I actually am sick. Well, that's your fault. Yeah. Yeah, just in case I actually am getting sick, I don't want to, you know, like, aggravate my voice too much, so we'll just kind of keep it relatively short. I feel like eventually we'll get to these, we'll get to a stream where it's going to be, like, a longer one. But so for now, I'm just going to keep it a bit more shorter. Just for my sanity's sake. And I'm still kind of trying to get used to, you know, yapping on for continuous time frames for hours at a time, because that's something that I don't really do on a day-to-day basis. Even though I am going to the office for work and stuff, like, I still don't talk relatively that much. So these streams are really the only times when I'm just like absolutely just like yapping my ears off, yapping y'all's ears off, that kind of thing. But it's nice. And so that's another nice thing about, you know, doing this game specifically, is also this game is, for me, like, it's my yapping game where, like, I just talk random topics, how my day's going, random shit, you know, that comes to mind. So it is just kind of nice practice for that, and also nice to train my voice to get used to continuous amounts of talking for hours at a time. So that's why we're here today. Also, I like playing this game. So that's the thing, like, if I wasn't streaming this, I would probably still just be playing it anyway. I'd just be silently listening to my music while, you know, driving down the highways and stuff, so, like I normally do. That's the funny thing, right? That's the other thing too. It's like, it's kind of funny because it's like, I do the same thing in real life that I'm doing in this game, which is just driving down the highways while I'm playing my music. It's just, and that was the other thing too, is like why I was like, am I really gonna keep enjoying playing this game, or am I really gonna continue liking, wow, I can't think of the right way to say it. Am I gonna continue enjoying to play this game even though I drive down the highways and stuff and like do all this driving in real life? Because, you know, before I wasn't really doing that because I didn't have a car. But the conclusion I've come to that is it's different. Something about it is different. I don't know, but like, yeah, this definitely still enjoy playing it, you know, so that's good, because otherwise, you know, if I suddenly stop liking playing this game, man, can you imagine? That would suck. Between all the, it's like all the money I spent on all the DLCs, oh no. Because originally I think I got this game and Euro Truck Simulator for like only $2.99 from pretty big sales, so relatively fortunate. That's the thing. Like, if y'all are out there watching this, I assume if you're watching this, you have the game. I mean, maybe you don't have the game. Maybe you're interested in it. We passed by it somehow. Where is it? I don't know. Let's hold on. Where was it? Well, at this point, I think we long passed it. It's probably over there. It's probably way over there. Is that the... Oh, that might have been it. Oh, yeah, right here. Billy the Kid Museum. Well, there's no achievement for it or whatever, so it's whatever. There's no photo trophy for it, so it's kind of useless anyway. It's useless to me, at least. Hello? Oh, new chapters of anime... New chapters of some of the manga I'm reading. Good to know. I'm gonna continue driving through these, and then, I don't know. Maybe I might just transport myself over. I'm big thinking right now. Because that's the other thing, I'm trying to do as much exploration as possible. 69, nice. Yeah, you can see... What are some of the states that I've really explored? I mean, California, obviously. Surprisingly, Kansas. I think it's because I was trying to get a lot of achievements there. Montana, New Mexico, which I'm doing a lot of right now. I've not done a lot of... I mean, obviously not a lot of Texas, because that's a big-ass state, but, like, some of those states are kind of, you know, ones I haven't explored too much, but... Like I said, I'm doing it... I'm not forcing myself to just, like, go through unexplored roads just for the sake of doing it. I'm just more so, like, if it happens to be one I haven't explored, that's good. But, like, otherwise I'll just drive whatever it takes me whenever I'm doing these deliveries. But yeah, it's just some driving down these roads. Advertise here. I love advertisements. I love when I have real-life advertisements in this game, which was the thing that I had when I had that, like, the real-life company mod. I don't have many mods for this game. The only mod I have is a traffic simulator, is like the more traffic, just because, you know, I'm weird like that, and I wanted to be more lifelike. And so that's why I also had the real companies and, like, ads mod in this game. I used to have that, but I removed it as soon as I realized I was pretty much just being advertised towards when I was looking at these real life advertisements. So I was just like, yeah, I'm good. I'll just use the fake companies, and, you know, just kind of, or not use the fake companies, but I'll just pretend like this is an alternate universe where it's like, you know, you have these real, or like these kind of fake companies, like American Lines. Yeah, you know, everybody knows about American Lines. It's my favorite trunking company. Also, wow, look at that sunset. Wow. That's another thing that another thing I kind of forgot before moving back to California. California has some great sunsets. Like, oh, this is beautiful though. But, like, yeah, no, like, when I was living in the Bay Area, I remember I would take pictures, like, sometimes from my dorm room or, like, my apartment. I'd take pictures of the sunset because, like, my God, it's so beautiful. I don't know what it is about here in California that's different than like some of the other places I lived, but it's definitely notable in my mind because it's just like I've taken so many pictures that it's just like, oh yeah, this is so beautiful. Sorry, I just like pedals were weirdly positioned there. That's why I was driving weirdly. But no, it was beautiful. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I'm just gonna take this for the sake of. Oh no, wait a sec. Probably wondering why I'm doing this. It's because I have that little bit of road that I didn't discover. And I'm just going to go back and discover that because that's going to bother me later. So I'm just going to drive like the same person, and I'm just going to clear this road. Please mark that as complete. Thank you. And let's go. Okay. I think, let me double check to mark that. Let me double check to make sure that was complete. Yep, we're good. Okay. We're Gucci. But yeah, beautiful sunsets here. So definitely experienced that as I, in my short time. But nah, this is also pretty nice. A pretty nice sunset here. You know, honestly, I'm looking at the time right now. Maybe I should just hit a rest stop and then go over to the. There's no rest stop. Oh man. Okay. Well, the nearest rest stop is right here. I might. You know what? No. I'm gonna do evasive maneuvers. I'm gonna do this highly illegal move and just make my way over to this rest stop so that I'm not driving at night. That's the thing, I don't really like driving at night in this game. I generally like to actually see where I'm going, so that's why I just generally like kind of avoid as much nighttime driving as I can. Okay. Plus it kind of works out because I was getting tired anyway, so... And there we go. And now it's day. Magically, it's day. Okay, magically delicious. Where is this taking me? I'm gonna go this way so I can get some more better... I feel like this is a... This screams hidden road to me for some reason. I don't know why. I always also like to like kind of discover some of the hidden roads. Where am I going? There we go, okay. So we'll see if that ends up being a hidden road. It may not, I don't know, we'll see. But I know there's quite a few hidden roads. I mean, obviously there's hidden roads in this game, but like, I think the reason why I have some in New Mexico is because I was on the hunt to try and find some of them that involve like the historic Route 66. So trying to get that in my history, I guess, so to speak. I don't know how that is. Actually, remember how I said I was feeling better? Turns out that may have been a lie because I'm actually oh, that's not good. Maybe I should smend. Maybe I should smend soon. I don't know, we'll see. No, I will probably end pretty soon, so it can be the last little thing I do before I head off for the night, and then we'll see what happens in the future. I'll say this, I'm not going to stream, I most likely won't be streaming tomorrow because the Green Bay Packers are playing Sunday Night Football, which means I'm going to be busy watching football starting at 5:15, 5 o'clock tomorrow, because that's how the time zone works here. I really love being back in the Pacific time zone because now football starts early and then it doesn't end at an unreasonable time, like 10 or 11 p.m. Everything ends by 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., which is really nice. So, nice for me, especially as a Packers fan, who we have a lot of primetime games. And I can say we because I am an owner. Yes, I'm one of those people. Yes. If you don't know, for the non-sports fans out there, the Green Bay Packers are the only major sports... Actually, maybe definitely the only major, like, baseball, like MLB, NBA, NFL, NHL. I don't know about like the other sports leagues, but I know definitely out of those, it's the only sports franchise that is publicly owned, aka you can buy shares. Oh, I spit on my screen here, ew. Like right on the middle of the screen there. You can buy shares of the team, which I have done before. Granted, they don't do that all the time. They only do it every couple of years, every so often. for purposes usually of like, you know, renovations and stuff. So I have done the buying of the shares, so I can tell people that I own an NFL franchise, a major sports franchise. Yes, I am one of hundreds of thousands of owners, but I am still technically an owner. So in that case, I can say, I can refer to them as we, which W-E, which I know some people have complaints about. They're like, oh, why are you referring to them as we, as if you're a part of the team? You're not part of the team. You don't own the team. You're not a player. It's just like, well, people still do that. I don't know. People do that. Sports fans are very. I mean, fan is short for fanatic, which is a whole thing about like, oh, like you're just like crazy passion for your team, that kind of thing. Your group, your alliance, that kind of thing, whatever. So this is a horrible song. I'm gonna skip that. Yeah, I mean, look, this playlist is decent. It's just like there are some songs in here that are pretty terrible, for lack of better term. Like they're wannabe rap songs. I'm just like, I don't need this in my life. I'm here for bass boom and beats, not my SoundCloud rappers over here. But yeah, no stream tomorrow. I mean, maybe I can stream early if I really wanted to. But we'll see. Depends on how I feel. Depends on how motivated I am, I guess. Hope you have fun tomorrow. I hope I have fun too. I hope it's better than last week, because last week was not fun, to say the least. Because the Packers, they were up 10-0 at the fourth quarter, and then they somehow lost the game, even though they were up 10-0 with like 6 minutes remaining, and yet they still somehow lost. And the worst part about that was I wasn't able to watch the full game because last Sunday I was meeting up with some friends, and so I actually had to leave early, so I stopped watching. I think like, yeah, right around 6 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. I was like, oh, they're up 10-0, they'll be fine. It looks like they're, you know, it's just like they were playing the Cleveland Browns, and it's like, oh, it looks like the Browns, you know, 3 and out again. It's like, okay, great, you know, it's fine, whatever. And then, you know, I have to drive over, and then I check the score as soon as because I'm not going to look at my phone while I'm driving, because that's horrible. I hate, another pet peeve, hate people who look at their phone while they're driving. But anyway, yeah, so I get to my destination, look at the oh shoot, look at the score, see that it's tied 10-10. I'm like, what the shit happened? And then I check later again as well, and then I see that they lost 10-13, and then I'm like, actually though, what the shit happened? So that was not fun. No bueno. It's fine, you know. I think the first 2 weeks were went a little bit too well, for lack of a better term. As we watched this cutscene of the historic monument of Lincoln, they needed some adversity. They needed this punch in the face, and I'm glad that it happened this early rather than later in the season or during the playoffs. I'm glad that didn't happen then, because yeah, imagine if that happened during a playoff game and it's like, well, you lost, goodbye. And it's like, nah, it's fine. It's only week 3 of an 18-week NFL season, so no need to worry. It's still a long ways ahead. I am a little bit nervous about this game though, because I mean, the Cowboys, even though they're not the greatest team, I mean, they're still, I mean, that's the whole slogan of the NFL, any given Sunday. You know, you can have the worst team in the NFL and they can still, you know, be that's the nature of the sport. It's like you can have a really bad team go up against a good team, and somehow enough plays happen where the really bad team ends up winning somehow. It's just how that works sometimes. Let's see, what do I want? Do I want to do anything else? I mean, we got the cutscene, which really wasn't that much, to be honest, so that was kind of whatever. Oh, Tejas. For a second, I was like, oh, we're going to Mexico, and then I realized this is Texas, and I'm very stupid. Um, man, I wonder if they're ever gonna add Mexico to this game. I don't think so. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I think there were rumors that they were gonna add a British Columbia. That they're gonna add a British Columbia because, and I can see why, because they might have to add Alaska down the line. They might have to make the connections there, but I don't know about Mexico. Well, I'll try to watch if you stream tomorrow. If not, I'll catch you on the next stream for sure. Much appreciate that. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. You're interesting to listen to watch. I appreciate that. I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, I mean, this game in particular is definitely my talky game. If I play any other games, I'm probably gonna be more focused on the games themselves. But this one, I mean, that's the whole thing with Truck Sim. It's kind of hard to really, like, what are you gonna comment about? The scenery? It's like there's really not that much to talk about game-wise, so it's kind of just a nice excuse for me to just kind of shoot the shit, talk about whatever. But yeah, let's see. Do I want to do anything else, or should we just end it there? Honestly, I think that might be a good. No, I think that might be a good stopping point. So, if that is the case, I think we're good. So with that being said, let's switch on over. I don't know what I was doing there. Alright, anyway, so with that, I think we're good there. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and thanks for the follows and likes and all that stuff. Have a good night. Much appreciated. Thank you. Hope you have a good night as well, Dodge Toe. Thanks for the follow, and yeah, hope to see you again in the future. As I mentioned, don't think it's going to be a stream tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. There's like a slight chance. If anything, keep an eye out on the Twitters and the Blue Skies. And I mean, if you do follow me, you see the notification anyway, so you know what, it's all good there. But yeah, I don't have a schedule, so it is one of those things. I mean, I feel like I've been mostly streaming Fridays, Saturdays. It feels like that's kind of my schedule at this point. And then maybe I might stream during the week if I really feel like it, but between work and all the different stuff that I have, it's kind of hard to really say if I really want to have a set date and time for schedules, so that's kind of why I'm just like, whatever. So anyway, that's don't think I have any other things to talk about in terms of announcements, so we'll see if the stream happens tomorrow, if a stream happens tomorrow. If not, I'll see y'all probably, I think the most likely time is going to be Friday next week, so we'll see you then. But until then, this has been Chino the Penguin. Thank you all so much for watching, once again. How many times I said that, but yeah, hope you all have a good rest of your Saturday night, or whatever day or time it may be, and see you all in a future stream. Thank you, and talk to y'all later. Goodbye.